my name's Adam Cook, and welcome to the GodisaGeek Podcast. I am joined, as ever, by Chris White.
Hello. Hi.
Oh, yeah. I see.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I see.
You know,
I see.
you know.
I see how it is.
Oh, yeah.
I see how it is already.
Yep.
Less than 30 seconds in. I see how it is. How are you, Chris?
I'm good, man. Good, man. Good to be back in old Derby. Yes.
Oh, is it? I've never heard anyone say that before.
Oh, you what? I love this. I love this place. Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, you may have heard their voices earlier. They're just reacting to Chris's impudence, quite honestly.
Impudence.
Adam Carroll is back as usual.
How are you?
I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah, good. Never been to Derby before, so yeah, I seem to be okay.
That you do surprise me.
Do you know?
Why would anyone go to Derby? Nicola Ardron is back with us this week. How are you, Nick? All right?
I'm all right. I'm feeling like I've got to stick up for Chris here.
Cheers.
No,
It's nice
no one should ever
round
do that.
Derby. It's nice.
Bless you.
Get yourself round Dales.
Yeah,
man. It's
Peak
nice.
District's beautiful.
Round
It's
Peak
probably
District.
fine.
The Dales are in my neck of the woods,
Yeah,
aren't they? Oh, God,
yeah.
I'm rubbish. Yeah, Peak District's lovely.
It is.
Get yourself
it's-
round there.
Yeah.
Listen, it's probably fine there. I don't know.
It's lovely. Go on, get yourself.
is
Have
anywhere.
an Eccles cake and what have you. Go on.
I can't do that. I can't. They might be nice as well. I don't know. It's been a bumper week actually. Like we're going to get started because we've got a lot to talk about. January. It's very early in January, and yet so much is happening already. Mm-hmm. We've got loads of news to talk about, and we've got plenty of questions after that. But we're going to start as we always do. Well, we don't always start with Chris, but we always start with what you've been playing. Chris,
So
the reason we're starting with you...
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, Chris, I do apologise. Please, get going.
No, sorry, mate. I thought you'd stopped.
I don't know. Are we going to... We need to decide off the podcast if we're going to try and sort of make this fake rivalry happen or not.
This is, well, we're talking on a Wednesday, so... last
Are we?
week, I went to
yeah.
I went to play some games down south. And
But Chris, there are no games yet, right?
no, I know, but these
But you did it anyway.
I did it.
How
Anyway.
did you cope going down south though, Chris? I've just got to ask this.
I don't know. It was a tough one. 2 whole days down there, but,
Oof.
but I survived.
It's not great down here. It's not great down here.
Oof.
So I went to play Monster Hunter World at Capcom in a very fancy club. Just before we start, I just want to talk about the toilets.
Please
Hang
do.
on first,
Okay.
you got to talk about the club, and then you can go to the toilets. It's
Yeah, I was going to
It's a double
say.
whammy here.
Right. So it's a really fancy club. I went to the loo. As you go in, like there's a sound system in there playing like jungle noises. So like birds tweeting and like just weird monkey noises. There's like this porcelain monkey on the wall. The sinks aren't sinks. They're like bronze spouts that you just kind of activate, and they just
wait.
It's like
Wait.
the Aztec
sinks-
zone in Crystal Maze.
The sinks are like bronze spouts.
The sinks are like bronze spouts. Yes,
You mean the taps, surely?
yeah, the taps on the yeah.
Chris, listen, I just want to be sure you know the difference between a sink and a tap,
I
right?
do know the difference between a sink and a tap.
Good.
I just got excited because it was very fancy, and there
The
weren't
bronze
tissues, or paper towels. They were like linen to wipe your hands with. That you wipe your hands with
wow.
and threw it in this bronze like bin. It was very nice. Anyway, Monster
Oh,
Hunter.
they weren't reusable towels.
No.
Oh, because for a minute I was thinking you'd have to dry your hands on. Never mind what I thought. Carry on.
Basically, it sounds like a 10 out of 10 toilet of the year base, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah,
Toilet of the Year is
Be my-
definitely an award we should
Yeah.
do in December.
it'll be in my totties at the end of the year. Yeah, definitely.
That's very good.
So anyway, Monster Hunter World. See, I never got on the beta, so I'm not sure how this differs from the beta. But there was at least 5 different monsters that we got to hunt. But that didn't include any of the other ones we kind of bumped into. So essentially, we sat down, and there was a group of 4 of us all going into this quest, and it's quite. It's quite fun how it all kind of kicks off. You kind of go off on your quest, and you have to find like different like there's footprints. So you look for footprints for the monsters, and they're these like glowing like flyers that lead you to where you need to go, and you have to follow around the map. All of you are looking and trying to find clues for it, and the maps are pretty big, to be fair, the ones we saw. There was like this one map which was like full of like mountains and like bogs and sand, and it was just a bit of a wasteland. And then once we kind of got an idea of where the monster was, we all went after it. And obviously, like Monster Hunter games, there's lots of different weapons that you can essentially make better by killing the monsters and using their remains to craft better weapons. But we all started off with different ones, and I started off with this massive axe, so it's very heavy, but it did a lot of damage, whereas another started off with 2 like blades, another with a long sword, and we just kind of took this monster down. And it's hard to... A lot of the kind of idea behind it is learning the monster's patterns and the best way to kind of go about it. But it was very difficult to do that when you've not got long to find it, and then you see it, and it's more or less just go and attack it, go and try and kill it, rather than working out any patterns. And it felt very much like you were just kind of pressing your 2 attack buttons. One of your attacks is like the triangle button, and one is a circle. Not all weapons follow that path. Some you just use the triangle button, and then you use your R2 to kind of activate this kind of... It was called demon mode on the 2 kind of scythes that I used, but it works for different ones. It's essentially gives you...
Reminded me of Bloodborne.
Yeah,
demon mode.
It is a little bit, and you kind of... You are using a strong attack and a weak attack, but then some you're doing different things. And you've got this thing called a slinger, which you've had before, where you can throw bombs and stuff at the monsters. And there's a lot of different ecosystems. And I mean, when I was talking to the producer Ryozu Tsujimoto, who was there,
well done.
Yeah, thank you. I've been rehearsing. He was telling you how important the ecosystems were. And I was we've seen ecosystems perform really well in Horizon Zero Dawn, obviously, where you walk into a different zone and it's almost just feels natural how it changes. Kind of similar to this. They do act differently, and they do have different kind of weaknesses and strengths. Like there's obviously fire weaknesses and cold weaknesses, that kind of thing. So you do have different potions and different abilities to use on them, which will affect them depending on who you've chosen and what weapon you've got and whereabouts you're attacking them. And another thing with previous Monster Hunter games, it's they're kind of separated into zones, so you could find the monster. I hated that, by
the way. Well, I'm not going to say anything about Monster Hunter. Oh, I was going to say I really didn't like the zone stuff in previous games, but I'm not a super fan, so I don't know.
Well, that's where it's changed quite a bit, you see, because you chase a monster into a zone, and then you attack it. You get really kind of low health, and you've got no potions or anything. Yeah. You can move to the other zone. It won't follow you because it just, for some reason, doesn't. It's like zombies in Resident Evil. When you go into another room, they don't tend to follow you all the time. But there are no zones. It's completely open. You'll follow it around the whole map if you had to. There are ways to kind of lure it into like different areas where it might be weaker. So if you're fighting on the sandy plains, you can lead it into the bog and it can suffer with the water. It can't get out. It kind of gets stuck. So that's one element. The other element, which I really liked, is I was fighting this. It looked like a T-Rex.
T-Rex with a hat on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we were attacking that, and we were kind of doing really well. And then all of a sudden, this huge other monster just started attacking it completely randomly. I was hoping it was random and it wasn't stage. And again, Tsujimoto said that these happen completely randomly. It's not scripted. You could be fighting one monster and all of a sudden this other monster comes in, almost like Jurassic Park with the raptors at the end attacking the T-Rex. The T-Rex attacking the raptors at the end of Jurassic Park just happens. And that can aid you as well. And that took down a lot of the monster's health. So from the 5 kind of monsters we took on, there's a lot of promise in the ways you can take them down. One thing I did mention in the preview is that you do feel kind of you're bashing buttons a bit at certain times just to kind of take the health down. There are little kind of adjustments you can make. So you can obviously use the demon mode if you're using that weapon or you can use a slinger to throw things at it. But time will tell how different that gets, and I do feel that it will improve. Like, you will learn maybe different like little tricks and skills, but your main attacks do kind of stay the same. And that's not a bad thing. This is like a small chunk of a massive game, and the co-op elements will bleed into your single player, which is kind of similar to the game we're going to talk about in a bit as well, where the stuff you do in co-op you can carry into your single player game. So if you take down a rare monster in a co-op mission, you can use those items to craft a weapon which you can then take into your single player game. And we didn't really see any of the single player because this was predominantly a multiplayer event. But
were you playing with other journalists?
Other journalists, yeah.
Any good ones?
I didn't. I'll be fair, I didn't recognise any of them. I saw Keza on another table and a few others, but no, there was no mic set up, so it wasn't like we were communicating. And that's another thing. Like, if it was, say, us four on, it'd be amazing because we'd like be able to talk each other through and be like, "Oh, found something, come over here." And it'd be a lot better to kind of play with people you may know. But it was still good, and I think it's got a lot of promise for when it releases, and it's nice to see more of the multiplayer in action.
It's weird because I'm trying to work out, like, we've got some video that at the time of recording we haven't put together because I'm just looking through it and having a look at what it is, and I can't because as obviously you've captured different sort of hunts. Just got to be careful how that sounds, but you've captured different hunts and.
That just clicked at me there.
I was going to say thanks. Thanks. I'm here all week. And what I can't work out is the structure of the game because I don't want to judge it based on the beta. And the thing is, we've talked about betas before. Like, I really hate betas. I don't like playing them because I feel like they call them betas. They're not. They're demos.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
It really broke for me with Destiny, the first one, when that beta, like the alpha, then the beta, and it was all the same. And then when you got the final game, it was the same again. Kind of what I talked about the other week when we were talking about debug stuff. Like, I don't want to do that. So I kind of literally booted the beta up, played one bit just to see how it felt. Because the thing I didn't like about previous Monster Hunter games was how they felt.
Yeah,
I could totally appreciate the craft, if you will, but I just didn't like how they felt. They always felt so slow to me, and the thing I instantly saw when they've revealed this and then when I played it is it felt more responsive and more of an action game, which is what I want to play, and I don't know how that would gel with massive, huge, long-term fans of the series. But what I didn't get from the beta, because I sort of jumped in and jumped back out, and what I'm not getting from what I've seen of what you captured, is the structure of the game. Is it like a menu system where you select a hunt, because that's what it was. I
think
in the beta, and I'm hoping it's. I don't know.
It feels very natural, and I believe. I mean, again, I'm not sure because
is it an open world? I guess as well.
Yeah,
is it one big open world where you just go over there and there's a monster? Or go, there's a different monster.
I think so.
I found that hints at there being a monster over there.
I think it's an open world.
That's what I want it to be.
It's an open world, and I believe that the kind of campsites which you visit, there is the woman that I talked to. She's kind of like the multiplayer character, so you go and talk to her, and I think you can invite friends from her or find randoms, and then that's how we all did it. We all spoke to the same woman or got in contact with the same woman. Or you can also, like, if I'm playing and I need help, I can set off a red flare, which essentially alert, like kind of in Bloodborne, is it the beckoning bell? Where
I can't remember.
You can get people to join your game just by kind of saying, I need help. So people can join your game like that. So it flows quite well like that. The actual multiplayer, I think, is essentially a character which you go and talk to. And if there are other players around the world wanting to do that, they'll have communicate with her too. But you can also play with your friends. If your friends are all in single player or you're all on at the same time, you just go to that woman and speak to her, and then you can all fight. It wasn't made clear exactly how it would work, but I feel it's very much it flows. And
it sounds like a really weird preview event.
Yeah,
I was trying to figure.
Yeah,
like from what you've played, Chris. How deep is the gameplay? Like, because no matter whatever I've seen of this, it just seems to be a kind of a hack and slash. And you just loot.
Careful.
I know. But, like, I don't have any experience in Monster Hunter. I played Generations for an hour, maybe, when it came out. Like, how deep is this game compared to something like, I don't know, where World of Warcraft goes or Diablo and all that?
Yeah, I don't think it doesn't feel particularly deep. But then I think all Monster Hunters.
Chris, what are you saying?
All Monster Hunter games do take a long time. Now I started with Generations, so I played quite a bit of that, and it did take 8 to 10 hours to really kind of feel like you were getting anywhere, because it was all about grinding. A hell of a lot of grinding is going to need to go into it, so it feels like you're going to have to take down a lot of monsters to kind of get where you need to go. And I believe there are little like side quests in the main game which will help you out, but it's going to take a while to open up. As far as progression in what I saw, there was very little, but there was, we didn't fight many monsters, so we didn't get a lot of chances to kind of
I'm wondering if what you played is because again, I didn't play it all. Nicola, you played the beta, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
I'm just intrigued because sometimes you go to these preview events that you come play our game, we want to show you and our latest build of the game, blah blah, and then you get back and they release a beta and it's just what you've played, and you're like, oh well, that was a huge waste of time then, because I could just play it at home now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I honestly,
I'm just wondering.
I believe that this event is the beta, the new beta that's going live.
I'm wondering that.
Yeah,
because the one I played only had 3.
Same, but I only played one of them, so
yeah,
I don't know.
I tried to play 2. I played and did the first one on my own, and then I tried the intermediate one twice with a friend, and we just couldn't bring it down. We ran out of time, basically, trying to bring it down.
Yeah.
So we never even bothered with the advanced one, but we sort of had a decent enough time chasing it about. The intermediate one.
I'm still excited purely because of that beta, that it made me think, oh, I've always liked the idea. That's the thing. I've always really dug the idea of Monster Hunter,
Same.
but the gameplay's never got to me. And I think this might be it. Oh, of course, because it was always,
I've never had a system to play it on, so I'm mad keen on it. I mean, whether I enjoy it or not is a different matter, but I'm mad keen on it at the moment.
I think you will.
Do you not feel like it's died down a bit, though? The hype has died down a little bit. I mean, it's out, in a couple of weeks? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
I think Christmas kind of gets in the way of everything, doesn't it?
Yeah,
so I just kind of feel like I've been shut down for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden I'm like starting to wind back up again. So I think it's just that, to be fair.
Yeah. I think you'll enjoy it, because I think it's like a lot of the monsters are tough as, and there's no health bars, so you don't really know how much longer you've got to take it. You've got to take it down, and certain bosses have like time limits, so you go into one only having 20 minutes to find it and take it down, so you really kind of need to pick up the pace a bit. But it's got that satisfaction that you get from certain games, like where you fight a boss, Bloodborne, Dark Souls, those kind of games where you feel a real sense of satisfaction after taking them down. So we'll see when it comes out, but I think pretty much everything that I played will be available in the new beta that comes out on the 18th.
See, why are they doing another beta? Because surely it's going to be out like a week later.
Yeah.
What's the point?
See, again, this is what I'm saying. It's not a beta. It's just
What's
it's
the
them
point?
opening up. Like I think they're trying. I think they're just using the beta as marketing. I mean, that's what betas are now. Like it's been like that for years. They're just saying, "Hey, that game you're all hyped about, have another little cheeky go on it." But again, I'm not gonna touch it. Like, everyone else, you do what you want to do, but I'm not gonna touch it because I played it enough to know that, like, right, I do want to play it, but I'm not now gonna touch it until the final game is playable, and then I'll have a look at it and see if I like it or not. I don't want to. I don't know. I don't know. I'm still excited for it, though.
I have a question. What does the cat do? Your little cat thing that you've got?
Oh, the palicos. Yeah,
yeah. What does it do? Because I was like quite excited that I had a little cat that ran around after me, but I didn't really know what it did.
Well,
what did
isn't
it do?
that enough? Isn't it enough that you just have a cat that?
Pretty much.
Isn't that enough?
In old Monster Hunter games, it was just a companion that carried stuff for you and just kind of was just spitting out horrendous cat puns constantly.
Excellent.
Like fuck,
10 out of 10.
Ridiculous. But
can you
Generations,
cite an example?
I could, but I'd have to.
Perfect.
I put a load. No, they were worse. They were like they didn't even work. I'll put it in my review for Generations. I'll look up in a minute. But like the Palicos in Generations you could play as, so I don't know whether they're gonna play much of a role in this, but.
Well, I just wondered whether they picked stuff up for you. Well, I don't really know what they do. I mean, I was quite happy that it was trotting along next to me, but I didn't understand exactly what it was doing.
Yeah, they kind of just help you out. They kind of give you little hints, that kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, Monster Hunter. I think it'd be good fun. But I think it'd be good fun for a bit.
Well, is it out next week or the week after next?
Oh no, hang
on, this week or the week after next. Forget about that bit. It's out in January.
It's out 26th.
Soon, Adam. Soon.
Next week.
Yeah.
There you go.
What else have you been up to, mate? Well, since you were down in London, I think it would only have been rude to not ask you what else you were doing in London. Did you see any sights apart from toilets?
I went on Oxford Street, went to see Buckingham Palace, walked down the Mall. Yeah, some places. It's London, isn't it?
London, eh?
It's pretty big. I saw.
It's a good job we're not a geography reviewing podcast, isn't it? Really.
Well, I went to Windsor to play my next game. So I walked past the lovely Windsor Castle.
Legoland.
Yeah. Oh, I wish. I would love to go to Legoland. I don't have time.
It's great there. Yeah.
But, I went to play Metal Gear Survive.
Yes.
Okay.
And I have to say, I had a lot of fun with it. A lot of fun. And not that I wasn't expecting to, but my idea of what this game was is completely different to what it actually is. I know it's called Survive, right? And I didn't really think too much of it, but it's essentially Metal Gear 5 with a heavy dose of Snake Eater in the mechanics. You've got... So the single player we'll talk about first. You've got your character, which is completely random from what I saw. I didn't see much of the story, only tiny bits. But you play as whoever, and you've got a hunger and a thirst kind of percentage, and a hunger and thirst bar. So if you go hunting for... I hunted a goat, so that was one of the first things I took down.
The first thing you did in the videos that you've dropped to me, would you say you hunted? You snuck up behind it and killed it from behind.
Yeah, hunted. If I just ran at it, it'd run off.
It wasn't. I thought, because again, having not played it or not seen much of it, I thought, is that a zombie? That's not a zombie. What's he? All right, you're just going to kill wildlife. Okay.
Yeah, man, you got to survive.
Well, it's got a hunger. Yeah. Were you not instantly put off at the idea of a hunger and a thirst bar? Oh,
I don't. When I first started, I was a little apprehensive because I'm not normally fond of those games, but it doesn't deteriorate too rapidly. It didn't really bother me. We'll see what it's like when the full game releases. But there were certain points of the game where you didn't even have them. There was you've got certain missions where they don't come into play. You've kind of got as long as you need, and in the videos you'll see that they disappear, and it's just your health. So I don't know, but there's I've
got to just say thanks for that, because you got to appreciate that you've basically forced me to find a bit where they disappear for the edit. But that's that's cool. Thanks.
No, but
appreciate that.
The bit you'll see which bit it is, because it's
stop saying.
There's right. So you've got those elements to it. And then you've also kind of got base building as well in the single player. But I don't really get to see too much of that in the single player. It's more about kind of fighting off these enemies, which are basically bodies with these red crystals for heads. And they're like an energy source. And obviously this world that you're in is a parallel universe with wormholes. So things from other... Whether it's other Metal Gear worlds or not, I'm not too sure. Not a lot was seen. There was a mention of XOF, from Metal Gear 5 in there.
Yeah.
I do believe there are going to be a lot of surprises, but I don't know. But it does feel like the story's kind of going for something, but... I don't know at this point. But one of the best bits from the single player was you have to find these wormhole kind of transporters throughout the map. And by finding them, you can do exactly what you can do in the base camp at these wormholes. But in order to activate them, you have to fight off this wave of enemies. So you will connect to the wormhole, and then the wormhole transporter will give you like 3 minutes to defend it. And as part of your gear, you can craft fences, and they can be like wire fences or wooden fences. And you can start laying them down quite easily. Like you can lay down like a wall in Fortnite or Minecraft or something. It's very instantaneous. But when that 3 minutes starts, you see like loads of these kind of, there's essentially zombies coming from the distance. So you have to like lay down a defense to these wormhole transporters, and it gets very tense. And it was like one of the best bits of the demo, where you're trying to stop them from trying to blow up this wormhole transporter. So they were very fun. There's other bits where you have to find these, I forgot what they're called now, but they're essentially like memory boards, and they help you learn more about what's going on in the game. And they're in different places within this world.
These are the little cutscene things.
Yeah, the tiny little cutscene things.
They looked so Metal Gear, which I mean, it is a Metal Gear, but they looked really Metal Gear-y.
It is, and it was ace. And there's this one kind of compound where the memory board was in this kind of high post, and there were a lot of kind of like crates around, and the big vehicle containers that you find at docks and stuff. Mm-hmm. And they were all kind of there, and I went in and saw a couple of these guys, and they started to chase me, so I tried to run around, and then I run into about 10 of them, managed to escape and climb up onto one of these crates, turn around, and there's about 30 of them, like, all coming towards me. So I was like, oh, shit. So I went to get this memory board, and I had to escape afterwards. And it was genuinely quite tense, and it's weird how it does feel like, it felt like Dawn of the Dead when you're on top of the shopping centre, and you're just looking over, and they're just everywhere. So it's basically putting a lot of different things into one game, but it does work, and the single player works really well. And again, time will tell how good it is, but from that I was very impressed by how it looked and how it felt like Metal Gear, even though they're doing a lot of things differently.
I mean, the video you've captured, to me, looks like Metal Gear 8 Fortnite. And I get that some people aren't going to be up for that, but I actually really like Fortnite, and it's just the problem with Fortnite, and we discussed this on the podcast many times ago, Nicola will attest to this, the problem with Fortnite is that there's so much of it, and it feels really awkward in how it explains itself, and the tutorials are bad, and I feel like if somebody could do what Fortnite's doing right, I would be well up for that, especially given that there's co-op,
Yeah, I mean, the multiplayer
Did you play with other journalists?
I did, yes.
Any good ones?
Do you know what? I
okay.
sat next to Tamor from the GameSpot.
Okay,
and,
he's a good one.
Gav Murphy was there, but they weren't playing the multiplayer. I was playing with Stefan from Sixth Axis.
Okay, he's a good one as well.
Yeah, so I got to play with like him and a couple of others, and it is proper Fortnite, and it was ace though, because you did have these onslaughts again, but you were all building barricades up, and again you were building the fences and all that, but you've got mines to craft, and there's different tables set up in the compound you have to defend, where you can build guns on the spot, and you can build barriers on the spot, and gadgets and all this kind of thing. And at one point, I think it was Stefan built the walkers from Metal Gear 5, those little kind of
the little that you jump on the back of kind of run along with.
He had one of them, and he was just gunning them down. I was doing a lot of base building to try and defend the kind of sides where they were coming from, and that they come in like 3 waves, and if you clear them, you'll earn shitloads of resources. And even if you kind of only clear one wave and fail the second, you still earn resources. But again, you get to take all those into the main game and build more stuff. And it kind of is important to play the multiplayer to get a lot of resources, because you can find stuff around the maps in single player, but you got so much in the multiplayer that it seems like quite important to play it.
How freeform is the building? Is it just you've got like plots that you put stuff on, or do you actually build stuff?
I saw a top-down thing at some point in Chris's video. There's like a top-down view of your base, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, in the multiplayer, and if you're when you're not at your base, but you're like trying to build barriers to stop them coming at you, you can literally build them anywhere. But I don't know about roofs and layers on buildings and what you can build to that extent.
Right.
But your base, there are like plots of land where you can put buildings.
Does my interest was piqued slightly at the idea of building a base, but if it's just cookie cutter stuff, I think not so much.
I think the base building's quite in depth. Like from the trailers that they released, they look like you can build a proper like Fallout 4 style base.
I was going to say, it reminded me a bit of Fallout 4, what I saw, yeah.
And it'd be interesting to see how big the single player is to be able to spend time building that whole map, because I don't know.
Do you think people have forgotten how good Metal Gear Solid 5 was?
I think so.
And
it's amazing.
I
never played it.
Oh, okay. I'm not saying like this is going to be the game of the year, but I do think it's on an absolute hiding to nothing because it's not Kojima. But I do think people are slightly forgetting how good Metal Gear 5 is.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest complaints I remember seeing levied against 5 was how the story didn't feel finished. Like, it just sort of doesn't feel full. And this kind of takes the gameplay that everyone... I haven't played it, but I'm saying what I'm inferring is that it seems to take the gameplay from 5 that everyone, to a man, says was amazing, twist it to a sort of base building thingy, and maybe cut some of the bits that I don't know.
The single player, the story, from what I heard, it was a Metal Gear story, and like it doesn't.
So bullshit.
Pardon? No, not bullshit. Just he's a very.
Hang on, Chris. Just before anyone gets a Nicholson twist. I'm just joking. It's fine.
Mate, they've already switched off.
Why? Hang on. Why?
Oh no, because Kojima fanboys are the worst. Like I love Hideo Kojima. I kind of always have. Why
don't you marry him then, Chris?
I do. I know. I can. I could understand he makes mistakes, and not every game he's made is excellent. But like he was ace. Like, but essentially what he used to do is he incorporates literature and movie kind of nods and stuff like that. They've done it with Dante's Inferno. Like a lot of the story revolves around Dante and stuff, which kind of links into later on. But it's very smart, and I kind of like it. It feels Metal Gear. Well, it doesn't feel Kojima. It feels Metal Gear, and that's what I like. So I'm certainly looking forward to play more and see what kind of surprises they spring on us. And I'm really keen to see if there's more characters from previous games turn up in it, and
I feel I personally feel. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, he needs to tell you that it doesn't run like shit. Because remember, was it last week or week before you said, I have a feeling it's going to run like arse?
Me?
No, Adam did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is the thing, because when they released that 5-minute gameplay video, I was like, oh, okay, that looks pretty insane. Yeah. But then, for me personally, I just know that I'm going to be really shit at this game.
Mm-hmm.
If that, like, there's a lot of stuff in the gameplay that, like, that we saw, and I was just like, I'm never going to think of doing that. Like, there was a moment where he was running along a cliff and he puts down this like slip kind of thing, and then he just hangs off the cliff, and all the zombies went flying.
That was amazing.
Like, it's so cool, and I like seeing that stuff, and it's cool that you can do that, but me personally, I won't think of doing that, because I'll just panic and probably just jump off the cliff and die.
Jump off the cliff self.
Do you know what I mean? But like, it is interesting to see what they're going for with it. And with the single player, I definitely would be interested in the single player more than I would be with multiplayer, because I'm not really the biggest online gamer.
Yeah, same.
But did it feel more arcadey?
No.
Like,
it felt like Metal Gear 5. It felt like Metal Gear 5 in every way. Like, the Fox engine's stronger than it was then. It feels great, and it's like muscle memory to go back to it. It's weird.
Yeah, because it seems to give you like a lot of opportunities to use the stealth, which I personally think is incredible in the Phantom Pain.
Totally.
It's just incredible.
Totally agree.
But one more thing I want to say is there more than the one enemy design? Because is it just me that every zombie that just looked...
I was wondering this too.
It just looked the same. They had this like blue thing on their head, and every one of them just looked the same.
From what I played, they were all They were all the same in the single player.
Oh, they can't
however,
be though, right?
However, in the multiplayer, there were different enemy types. There was like this one that was like it had like a huge fat body that blew up, and there was like
say something else. Then sorry,
it might have been one of them. It was just very swollen. And then there was like a bomber
infected. Even
there were lots of different. There were different enemy types in the multiplayer, so I'm assuming they'll come into it later on. Bearing in mind, I played 2 to 3 hours of the single player. There's going to be a lot more. I feel
cool. It's got to be right.
It's very, very kind of short. I mean, I'd like to know how long the game will be. I mean, it might be 20 to 30 hours. It might be 10. I don't know. But it feels like it's going to be massive just from what I played and what you can actually do. You're going to need time to spend building and doing all this sort of stuff. So I'm assuming it's going to be at least 30. I hope, anyway. But we'll see. But yeah, I really like what I played. I think it's got a lot of promise, and we'll see when it comes out.
That's this month too, isn't it? Or is that next month?
That's 20th of Feb. So there's another beta. There's beta for the multiplayer, I think, at the weekend.
That's right. Yeah, a lot of betas coming up.
But yeah,
anything else?
Yeah, but I'll incorporate when Nick starts talking about it because I only played a little bit.
No, but you see, the thing is, Chris, is I realised at the start of this podcast that there's a really, really good joke here, right?
Okay.
But you have to talk about this game now, and you have to be on the same wavelength as me for this to work. I need you to trust me, Chris. Okay?
No pressure.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
No pressure. I just need you to trust me. And I need you to give the right answer when I ask the question, okay? It's really important.
Mate, I'm feeling under pressure with this.
You should be.
I've been playing Rainbow Six Siege.
Have you? Who did you play that with, Chris?
I played
Did you play that with it? Did you play that with the journalist, Chris?
I did.
Any good ones, Chris?
He was fucking great. Yes.
No, you're supposed to say the worst. No,
but I can't say that. That's mean.
You're just being nice, Chris. You're just being nice.
The joke, though. The joke is that you give me the feed of I've played another game, a multiplayer game, and I say to you, "Have you played? Oh, did you play that with the other journalist?" Yes, I did. Oh, the audience thinks, who was this one? It was you. No one good. No, I'm getting it wrong. Chris, what do you think of Siege?
Fucking ace. Like,
right.
Yes, mate.
I think I haven't got I don't think I'm gonna have the time to properly put in it. But from that mission that we got right was one of the most kind of tense moments of games that I've had for a while. But it was so much fun, like trying to locate the hostage, so then getting him out safely. You could find the enemies and you could look around and find a selection of them, but then there'll be one that you've not accounted for and he'll attack you, and you'll be within an inch of your life, but you manage to kind of put a bullet in his head, and then you're like on thin ice because you've got like 5 health left and you're trying to maneuver out of this amusement park. And I just really enjoyed it. I really like the different kind of abilities you could use and how you can equip them with different soldiers. I mean,
was that Terrorist Hunt you were playing?
Yes, it was.
T-Hunt,
yeah. And I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I could see why people play it. I could see why, Nick, you spend a lot of time on it, because I think it's ace. Like,
I'm hooked.
Yeah,
I'm hooked.
Really
it's changed a lot though. It's changed quite because it's weird because I played it at launch and you didn't, did you, Nicola? You've come to it later. You did.
I did play it at launch, on the Xbox.
On the Xbox, that's right.
I didn't play. I played maybe 10, 11 hours of it, but it just, what I would do is I'd play, and because you need to communicate, I'd go into game chat, which I don't normally do on multiplayer because people are cocks.
Yes.
And as soon as I spoke, I would get kicked. So I just got fed up on the Xbox, and I didn't really have a regular crew to play it with, so I just gave up, and then I got badgered by one of my PlayStation buddies to buy it. So I picked it up when it was on sale a while back now, and I'm hooked. I've played it every day. It's
really well made though. Like it still feels as well made as it did when it launched. The only thing I thought I noticed different was, and this might be because you mentioned it the other week, they've changed. Like, obviously the menus now have evolved over time, but like they really want you to buy stuff. They really want you to drop your money now. But also, like, I don't know. It just, You were so right about the grind. Like, I looked at the prices of those operators, and it's like that actually put me off wanting to play anymore, because although I was happy playing, me and Chris doing T-Hunt, I was happy doing that. You don't need all the operators for that. That is just you and a mate or a couple of mates playing against the AI. But the idea of going into a competitive game of this, I feel like even if you say I'm not handicapped, I would feel handicapped, like knowing that they have the choice.
You won't be, no. I mean,
the price of them, Nick. The price of them. If you wanted to buy
are you talking about the
year 2 ones?
Year 1, Year 2? Yeah. Like, it's 25,000 renown, isn't it? Per operator.
Per operator.
You don't need them. I know. Like I said to you, you can compete with the base operators, which you have to purchase with renown anyway, but it's significantly less. The only thing that I have every now and again is like a bit of a fear that I'm like missing out a little bit. I've only got 3 Year 1 operators left to buy. With the amount I'm playing, I'm probably buying a new operator a week at the moment. But that is, a couple of hours of play a night every day. So I'm hooked. Proper addicted to it. But I'm in a situation now where I absolutely don't think you necessarily need the other operators, because the core operators are picked plenty. Ash is a really regular pick. Jaeger, Bandit, Twitch, Fuse is a regular pick. I love Capcan. Capcan's my favourite. He's a standard operator. Smoke's really good, Mute's really good. All of these base operators are, picked a lot. The only one that I perhaps feel like I'm missing out a bit is Ella, who is a Year 2 operator, and that's purely because everybody picks her because she needs a nerf. Her gun is too accurate. It's got a ridiculous magazine size. Ella does not need to reload, and her gun is like a laser.
That's bad.
So she's she needs a nerf, but she's a regular pick because of that. But that's really the only one that I felt like I'm missing out a little bit with. I'd quite like to play with Legion, who's a Year 2 one, who is picked regularly, because he just looks like he's a bit of fun. But in fairness, my main picks are Capcan, Mute, and I bought Hibana from the Year 1, who I like playing with as well, and Buck, he's a Year 1. But they're like my main picks, to be fair. I tend to go with the same operators.
I will say you were also spot on. Not that I doubted you, but Chris and I played. I don't know if we actually talked about this on the podcast, or if it's just. I think we might have just been chatting in Slack, our company Slack. You mentioned about how bad the community is for this game.
The in-game community. Let's just specify it's the in-game community. Yeah.
And Chris and I started off. I think it's my fault, because I just literally went like, play it, let's play match, whatever, let's just do whatever. Just, there's only one way to get your feet wet in there, and that's to get in the water.
Yeah.
And so we did that, and it was T-Hunt, so it wasn't even an actual 5v5, it was T-Hunt.
No.
And we were doing all right, for our first game, Chris's first game ever. I hadn't played since 2015, December 2015, so nearly over a full 2 years. We're doing all right until one guy just decided to kill everyone on the team. Just, I don't know, maybe it wasn't going his way, maybe he wasn't feeling it. He just threw grenades at our feet and shot us all to shit, and that was that. Finished
and then he left. He jumped out of the game like a penis.
And then he left, so I don't, and I wondered if he left, and I don't know if this is the case, and you'll know, Nicola, but he left, and I wondered if that was him escaping a penalty by just jumping out once he'd done his dirty business, just fucking off.
Yeah, because there is no way. The only way that you can report a player is if they're still in the same lobby as you.
Yep. So that's what they do. Then they just leave. They ruin the game for you, and they just fuck off.
Yeah.
Well, I remember his gamer tag, so I'll watch out for him.
I hate the in-game community. It's a fantastic game. It's a fantastic game ruined by utter penises who play it.
It delivers. Do you remember when it was revealed at E3 and people were like, and they did that Ubisoft thing where they're like, they did that commentary, and you're thinking nobody fucking plays like that.
Nobody.
Actually, no. I say nobody. This game actually does make you play like that.
Yeah.
You have to, because it's so tense, and like like you put a brilliant clip up, and I suggest people go to @wavy_gravy and find Nicola's clip.
Thanks very much.
Because what was it? Well, I learnt what clutch meant, and I'm not talking about cars. So I'm now down with the kids and understand all the hip lingo of the hip, cool, rad lingo.
Cowabunga, dude.
Old man yells at cloud in podcast form right here. But I really want to play more of this, but I don't want to play it unless everyone on the team is someone I know, and that is in
definitely.
a way cool and nice, and in another way, God, that sucks.
I mean, that game that you're talking about with the clip, that was actually a ranked match. And
okay, so is that
ranked,
less?
In ranked,
it must be, right?
It's a little bit better.
It's like Overwatch.
You don't get the team killing quite so much.
Well, it still happens.
It does happen, but a lot rarely, because if you team kill, you're a player down. If they leave the match, there isn't a backfill. Somebody else isn't going to join.
Okay.
So it's a lot less, and also the vote to kicks are a lot less. The only problem is you can't actually get into ranked until you hit clearance level 25, I think it is, maybe. So you have to put a fair amount of time in before you can even get into the ranked playlist. And honestly, personally, I think that you're not ready for ranked until you're maybe clearance level 50.
Okay.
Because it's such a tactical game. Map knowledge is absolutely key, because you need to understand where, if you're defending, where the attackers are coming from, what angles they can possibly get on you.
Actually, that reminds me, I want to ask you a question. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm going to forget. Chris and I were talking about this. So when you play, well, it doesn't matter actually. So say you're the defending team and you've got the hostage, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever map it is, let's just say it's the amusement park map.
Yep.
Are there X amount of places the hostage can be?
Yeah.
The reason there are. So how many? Because do you know what I mean? Because if you're really into this game and you really know it, and you're on the amusement park map, and there are there's only 5 places that hostage can be. Mm-hmm. How does that affect the overall game? If do you then go, right, hey, right, Nicola, so it's 1 of 5, so I'm going to go, should we go and look over there? So 2 of you go and look over there, 2 of you go, do you know what I mean? Does that...
I think once you get the map knowledge, you'll go, say Clubhouse, for example, you'll go, well, they're not in cash room, okay, they might be in bar.
Yeah.
No, they're not in bar, they're in bedroom. No, they're in tower. So you just roll through with your drone. And if they're not in cash room, you just go through and go and look in one or the other, and they're not there. Okay, so I'll move to this other area on the map. Oh, here they are, and start scanning. So that, I mean, there's maybe 4 or 5 different locations that the objective will be on a map. And I'm not really sure what your question was, what your point was. Is it just that you were then worried that maybe that gets a bit stale, or what?
More a case of, instead of being this fun, tense thing where you're like, God, if they kill me, I'm dead. We've got to find this. We've got to get them out. Almost like putting it into a real feeling situation. Is it just become a case of, right, check place A, not there. Check place B, not there. And they go, well, we know exactly where they are now. Whereas when you first start playing the game, literally finding your feet on those maps, the first time you find the hostage, you're like, oh, we got him. We found the hostage. And it's really exciting. And
I mean, I don't play hostage so much. I tend to play the bomb mode.
Okay, okay.
But I mean, all you're doing is locating the actual objective room.
True.
You're not locating where the enemies are, because they, of course, can move.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's where the added element gets in, really, is that particularly when you're playing online, the other characters, the other players are what you're playing against, because it's like, well, they're not all going to be sat in objective room. They're going to be moving around, roaming around the map, and it's that you've got to be careful of. I'm properly hooked on it. I'm absolutely hooked on it.
I say it's taught me what clutch means, but also while we're talking about language, I want to ask a question. I suppose this is aimed at Adam Carroll because he's the youngest here. My son plays a lot of Overwatch, okay, and we've got the situation where we have 2 Xboxes in the house. We simply have to, and I've got like apps on there I want to use, like to watch some TV in the lounge. So I kicked him off, and he started playing on his account. And he refers to his account when he's playing Overwatch as a Smurf account, and it's got something to do with the fact that his real account, it's actually my account. It's like level prestige 2 whatever, but the Smurf account. And it's become. I'm just sitting there tapping away or editing the video, and I hear him say to his mates on Xbox Live, "Oh yeah, that's definitely a Smurf account. Look at the way they're shooting headshots. This is a Smurf account." I understand what a Smurf account is. It's like a burner account. It's not your main account. It's one you fresh roll is what I would know as a reroll. Siege. But why is it called Smurf account?
Well, just to be clear, Adam Cook,
yes.
I'm not the same age as your son.
God damn it. And I was minding my language.
So, I too don't know what a Smurf account is.
No, I'm not saying you would. I hoped you would. If not, I know what a Smurf account is. It's the reason behind it.
Yeah.
No?
I didn't... is it the kind... Is it like... This is my play account. This is like, I'm only having a laugh, but then this account this is where my real shit happens. This is where it all goes down.
He's 10. He's no interest in Smurfs. I didn't even have an interest in Smurfs when I was a kid. No one likes the Smurfs.
Yeah, they were all right.
Oh. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to besmirch your beloved Smurfs. That's a hard sentence to say. I'm proud of that, actually. Let's get back to games. Nicola, what else have you been playing?
I just looked it up for you, Adam.
Oh, go on.
So it was coined by Jeff Frazier and Greg Boyko, who played the online game Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness under the name Schlonglaw and War.
Excuse me?
Schlonglaw is an amazing
Can we get that
name.
one more time?
Damn good.
Schlonglaw.
Yep.
So the pair had become so proficient at the game that few people would play against them. So in order to avoid scaring off potential competitors, the pair created alternate accounts named Papa Smurf and Smurfette.
But how does he know that?
Well,
he can't know that.
I've heard the term Smurf account for Siege. You'll see a low-level player and they're just like headshotting and getting all the angles, and you're like, "Yep, that's not."
Yeah, see, I know that as like a reroll or like
burner account is what I would call it.
Yeah,
but I have
burner or
heard
a
it
reroll.
referred to as a Smurf account. But that's it. You learn something, don't you? Every day's a school day.
Well, in 1 week, I understand why they're called Smurfs and Clutch, and that's what more could one ask.
Every day's a school day.
It is.
Right, what else have I been playing?
Yeah, what else have you been on? What have you been out on?
I've been playing a bit of PUBG on the old Xbox.
Yes, good. Well, in preparation, you and Chris have been playing in preparation for our play date. Well, not Adam, but Gary will be replacing him.
Absolutely. It's a bit good, isn't it?
Very good game,
It's a bit good. I mean, it's a bit rough on the Xbox, but to be fair, the latest update has smoothed it out a little bit more. Good. It seems a bit more stable. But yeah,
strong and stable, would you say? Not
strong and stable. It's definitely a little more stable than it was. It's a bit heart in the mouth kind of stuff sometimes. Bit heart in the mouth, it gets you going.
I said hot in the mouth.
I thought you said hot in the mouth.
It's heart in the mouth. Because
it's definitely a tense game.
I kind of get into the top 10 fairly frequently, and I'm not saying that as like a humble brag that I'm like really good at PUBG. I just hide in the mountains until it's time. But that last bit where you're in the really tiny circle and everybody, you just know everybody's in that circle and they're all crawling in the grass it's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
See, you're in phase 1 of your training, you see.
Yeah.
That's phase 1.
I've got to second that dinner.
That's pretty good for phase 1.
I can pretty much taste that dinner.
The trouble is, and this is why I don't enjoy the Xbox version, is phase 1 of the training is that, like hiding out, learning when to make your play. Phase 2 is getting good at the combat. And no matter what I do on Xbox, I can't shoot in that game. On PC, it's fine, but the stability of the game and generally the controller aiming, I just can't do it. And to really be proficient at that game, because there's no training mode, is there? There's no place you can go and learn the weapons. The only way you can learn the weapons is by shooting people. And if you play conservatively and hiding, you never get to shoot anyone. So the idea is to just go into it and I'm going to play for this evening's session. I'm just going to get into combat, but I find it so awkward on Xbox that I just can't. I can't.
I'm getting more used to it.
I'm getting that excuse out there now, so that when people see the video of the four of us playing, which hasn't happened yet, but I'm absolutely convinced I'll be the first out the door.
Well, I the only reason why I survived so long is because I am a massive pussy. I get
you three
I go
do
into
that.
a house. I get into a house. I get
in the bathtub.
I've got an assault rifle. I've got my level 2 backpack. I've got a motorcycle helmet. I'm tooled up. Right, get the fuck out of here. Get on top of a hill and hide in a bush until the circle's really tiny, and then we go. That's how I play it. So
Gary
it's pretty
does that,
boring.
and Chris. So you three are going to be hiding in bathtubs while I John J. Rambo it into the fucking forest.
I don't hide near buildings, Adam, because that's where people could be.
So you literally, yeah, that's PUBG.
I'm like the great white hunter sat out on a hilltop in a bush waiting for somebody to walk past me. It's not the most thrilling of games. Like if I was to stream it, it'd be boring as hell because I'm just sort of sat here going, now we wait.
That's what it is. Yeah, that's PUBG.
I mean, I have racked up a few kills by being a sneaky bugger. In fact, my best kill was I'd gone into a house and I'd literally walked into this house. I didn't have anything. I didn't have a pistol or anything. And on the ground was a frying pan. And I was in a room and I turned round as somebody else came into the house. He didn't see me, so I kind of shuffled off to one side so that he wouldn't see me unless he came into the room. But I had like Overwatch on the front door and he came down and he started to come towards me, but then turned around. So I was like, I crept out.
Yep.
And I killed him with my frying pan. And I'll tell you what, I was laughing for the entire match. I was just kept going, it was great. I've had other ones where I've gone and nicked somebody's car when they're in looting a house. I've watched them go in.
Oh, that's dirty.
I've gone and nicked their car and driven off going,
that's filthy. That's
I don't bother shooting folk. I just, I don't. The only time I really
cars.
get, I have got some kills. Like if I've had to engage, but I tend not to. If I don't have to, I tend not to. Like that middle circle where there's lots of people around, I sit and watch everybody else pick everybody else off.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I go for it. So, like I say, I've had a third, and my latest one was a second, and I was like, so. I was a bit disappointed I didn't get the dinner, to be honest. But
it'll come.
In fairness, it was me against a team of 3 because my other 2 pals had died. So I had to take 3 of them out, and I managed to down one and kill one, and then the other one got me. So I was like, but it's close. I'm there. I can taste it.
I mean, I don't know if we're all the same. I prefer squad play. Like, I understand why people like it solo, but I love.
Yeah.
I feel like squad play adds a layer because if you take someone out, or you decide to engage with someone, whether you're with your pals or not, you don't know how many people they're with. But because you're in squad play, you know there's at least likely to be one more, but there could be 2 more. And I love that adds just another layer.
Definitely. I mean, I've only played like maybe 2 or 3 on my own. Because it's a bit of a lonely game. Certainly the way I play it's a bit of a lonely game. I've played an awful lot of duo with me and my gaming husband. Me and him have been running around in duo, and then we've bullied another friend to buy it, so we're now rolling as a squad of 3. So yeah, definitely think it's a much more fun. Oh, that sounds awful, doesn't it? But you know what I mean?
Funnerer.
It's a funnerer game. Yep. It's more fun with pals. Like most games, though, to be fair, aren't they? They are more fun with pals, but it's definitely a more exciting experience when you've got somebody to kind of camp out with on a hill.
Yes.
Going, no, don't shoot, much, don't shoot.
Yep.
What else have we been playing? Oh, The Evil Within, because you You sent it
requested
to me.
you play it, yes.
Yeah.
It's a good game, though, isn't it? It's a good game.
It's all right, actually. It's all right.
Big Resi 4 vibes I got from it.
Definitely. But, I mean, I knew absolutely chuff all about it before I went into it. And I was playing it I was streaming it, and I was playing it going, this is Resident Evil 4 Village.
Yep, totally
going
agree.
On.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same lead, same producer.
Well, see, I didn't know this. I then was informed on the stream, and I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, like it feels like he's almost like, oh, has he been waiting all these years to make this? Has he? He wanted to do another one. I tried to stream again last evening, actually, but unfortunately I had cut my stream short because I had an absolutely banging headache, and the game was making me feel a bit sick. Plus, I was a bit stuck. I didn't know what I had to do. So I was getting a bit frustrated, so I cut the stream short last night. And one of the things that I'm a bit concerned about going forward, I mean, I'm still very early on, I'm still in this village, is that it's not very well signposted where you have to go. Like, the bit that I was playing last night, I was wandering around this sort of chunk of houses, and I keep picking up stuff that says, oh, you can use this with the agony crossbow. And I was like, oh, I want the agony crossbow. That sounds amazing. Because all I've got is a pistol that's got 3 bullets in it, and I'm just a terrible shot. So I'm like running around with my fists and bad language trying to find stuff, going, where the fuck is this crossbow? And I eventually find it, along with a shotgun. After probably about 40 minutes of just wandering around getting lost and thinking, all these houses look the same, all these rooms look the same, I'm a bit confused what's going on. And then I moved to my objective, which is to try and open up a gate for this fella. And then it says, oh no, you'll need something like a chainsaw to... So
is that where you're at now?
Oh.
Yeah. So,
okay. Oh, Jesus.
So I'm like wandering around this village, and bearing in mind, I've got the headache is building at this point, and I'm wandering around, and I'm like conscious when I'm streaming, like I'm conscious that I don't want to be, like if I'm not doing very well when I'm streaming, if it's funny that I'm not doing well, that's fine. But if I'm just wandering around being a dick because I can't see where I'm supposed to go, I just think, God, that's boring for people watching it. So I get a little bit self-conscious about what it is I'm doing. But anyway, I had this headache building up. I'm wandering around and round and round. I can hear some fella making noises, and I'm thinking, well, clearly I've got to go towards this fella. I can't find him. I cannot find this fella, and I've been wandering around this village.
You're on the right track. You're in definitely the right area. It's literally just around there. I think The Evil Within is just an absolutely incredible game. Like, it's completely up my street. I think you have to stick with it. I will do. It is quite an unusual one to stream for your first time playing it, because I actually think the game gets really hard.
Right.
It does. Resource management becomes a thing.
Yeah, it's a very difficult game, and the thing you're saying where if it's kind of like you don't know where you're going and all that kind of jazz, to me, that's fantastic to have in a game like this. Like, the fact that The Evil Within 1 and 2 exist, and it's just straight up single player survival horror, there just isn't many of them anymore. And like The Evil Within, definitely the first one, offers so much dread, like from start to finish. And when you get to the midway point, because it's a long enough game to be fair, when you get to the midway point, there's so many fantastic moments that I don't think enough people discuss. And like, it is a frustrating game in terms of its gameplay, but that's kind of what it is. Like, that is what these games were. I don't know, like it's the graininess of the whole game and everything. Like, it's a very difficult...
See, that was weird. Like, there's a definite film grain on it, and then I had to turn off the letterbox thing because I didn't understand why.
That's a shame.
Oh, yeah. I was just like, why am I restricting? Really? Should I turn it back on?
There was a lot of people who were not into those bars, and they actually...
I liked it.
Yeah, I did too, and they released a patch to like get rid of them or switch them off if you want.
Yeah, they did, that's right.
I left them on, and I was like,
Same.
yeah, because it was just, I don't know, it was unique for
It felt
the
right.
game.
It felt right to me that it should be like that.
But I totally understand if somebody is completely like not vibing it. But the graininess, trust me in saying,
I like that. I like the film grain.
If you ever do get to The Evil Within 2, that is something I personally missed.
Right.
2 becomes a lot more
It's
polished.
a bit clean. It's too clean, the second one.
It's too clean. I don't know. The graininess just adds to the dread.
Do you know what? With all that stuff gone from The Evil Within 2, I think that's the reason I haven't got any more than an hour into The Evil Within 2, because I started it and it's like, okay, it's still the same world, but it felt like all the special feeling had gone. It just felt like a really good game, but just a game. Like, it didn't feel special.
2 is fantastic, and I think when you
I do want to play it.
Like, I definitely think you should finish it if you're ever going to eventually go back to it.
Well, I want to stream it. I want to stream a little bit more of it because, like, originally it was to stream it because Adam thinks it's funny that I get a bit squealy and scared.
And it was, to be fair.
But I was playing it. The first time I was playing it, I just kept going on the stream going, yeah, this is a bit good, this. I'm quite enjoying it.
Yeah. You're at the point as well where it's really about to get going. Like,
right.
you're on literally... you're looking over the edge of the cliff going, oh, what's down there? And you're just about to get the push in the back where it really kicks off. Like,
I gotta say as well, I think it has one of the most intense openings to any game.
Yeah, it is
crazy.
Oh my god. Where you mean the bit where you're hanging up on a butcher's hook and then you've got to get down and that.
It's relentless from the word go in that chapter. Yeah, it's just a superb game, and if you do finish it, do play the 2 pieces of DLC that are released for it, because they're only like 2-3 hours long, and they are fantastic as well.
Right. Okay. Well, see, my feeling was like I was going to do a bit of a stream The Evil Within and then work up to stream Resi 7 because I am terrified to play Resi 7. That first bit, the house, because. Yeah. If it's anything like that demo they put out, I honestly don't know whether I'll be able to play it.
That demo's part of the game.
It's just a different beast when it's like a POV. It's just like...
Yeah. I still haven't played the VR version, Ad. Like, I'm scared to.
Yeah, I can't.
I don't want to play it. I don't want to. Also, I've ruined it because I feel like if you're going to play that in VR, it should be your first time. Because you know what's coming. And even though it's going to be horrible and it's in your face, it's not the same, is it? I know what's going to happen in that game.
Definitely.
Anyway, so Evil Within, it's all right. Quite enjoying it.
The next game on your list is the one you should stream. Because everyone should just stream it and play it all the time and talk about it. And we should just do a podcast every week about this game.
I've literally started NieR Automata.
Yeah.
Automata.
Yeah, however you want. However you want to
You say Automata, I say Automata.
I say Automata.
Yeah.
A tomato.
Oh.
A NieR a tomato, yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Wow. Well, yeah, I'm mad keen on this.
Good.
I'm early on. Well, I say I've just been in a desert area and done something.
Yeah, that's quite early on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm all in. I'm all in on this. The opening was just incredible. I mean,
yep.
That whole. Oh, it's a twin stick shot. Oh, no, it's not. It's a side-scrolling shot. Oh, it's this.
It's everything. It's everything to everyone.
What's so funny? You're so early on, and you're this excited. Like,
and you've seen nothing. You've seen
that game.
I'll tell you why.
Nothing.
I know. Well, see, this is why I'm so excited about it, because every time I say something like this, somebody goes, "Oh, just you wait." I like 2B. I like her.
Yep.
I like
she's
her boots.
fantastic.
I love her boots.
Boots.
I want to get me some of those boots. Yeah, I said this on Twitter. I love her boots, and like loads of people came on to me going, "Did you mean booty?" I was like, "No, I actually meant her boots. They're amazing."
She's got knee-high boots. They're cool.
I want a pair of those boots. Where can I get me some? They're amazing.
My wife has a pair similar. I shall have to ask her where she got them from, so I can't remember.
Anyway, they're amazing.
It's just cool. She's just cool.
She is. I love the way she's animated when she walks. I put a little thing on Twitter just before I came onto the pod, actually. Just the animation on her walk is incredible. Like the little ankle adjustment that she does when she's walking, because those boots are high, those heels are high. That little ankle adjustment is just, oh my God, it's amazing.
There is one thing, Nicola, I will beg you to do, or not do, right?
Ooh.
Do not get bogged down with side quests.
I beg you,
don't do that.
This to me.
There are multiple playthroughs. You can pick them up on whenever you feel like it. I beg you. There is a moment in the game where it doesn't slow down, but it gives you a chance to breathe. And knowing games as we all do, that feels like the natural moment to be like, oh, let's mop up some of these. Don't in any way feel pressured to do them. Do a couple just to just get a bit more combat, but don't get bogged down in them.
No.
Because get through playthrough 1, and when you do that and start 2, you'll understand why we say don't get bogged down too much in the middle. Right.
Well, the mission that I've just done in the desert, I'm intrigued. Like, it got me a little bit, that mission in the desert. When you...
Yep.
It kind of punched me in the gut a little bit. So I'm intrigued to see where it goes.
The next one's one of my... If I'm remembering correctly, I won't say the word, but Chris, Adam, it's the area that begins with like F, isn't it? Or C, I guess you could say. Either way.
Yeah, I know.
It is that, isn't it? And that is genuinely one of those moments where you think you've got a handle on what the game is, and then this area opens up and it's so much more colourful, and you're like, this game's just... What is this game?
I just remember playing it, getting through my first playthrough and just kind of going, fuck, that was a really great game. Right, I better bang on and see what's the story with like these other playthroughs. And I remember 2 and 3 and I was like, holy Jesus. I was like, what is this game about? Like, there's in my opinion, there's nothing like it.
I was just going to say there's nothing else like this game. There is
no, like, if you are somebody who plays this game and only plays it the once, like, do you know what?
You're doing a disservice to yourself.
Massively. And if you do play like 2, 3, 4, 5 times or whatever, and then you turn around and go, no, it's not great. I just don't want to know you. I just don't want to know you. Because that just doesn't make any sense.
Oh, it's
a superb
game. You wish
game.
You could wipe your mind clean and do that game again. Yeah.
But it's so weird, right? It's so weird because it didn't make my top 5 when we were doing our top 5 lists, you know? But like, I was holding that game right there going, oh, like, what do I do? But there was just, it would just, like, I don't know, it's number 6, if anything. But, like, at the same time, I'm like, but is it number 2? Like, do you know what?
Yeah. It's also like, I find it quite weird because whenever people talk about this game, they say like, oh yeah, no, the story's amazing, this is so amazing, but the combat's crap. It's not crap.
No, it's not.
Like, I don't think it's Platinum's best combat. The depth is there, but you have to search it out. You have to use the chip system. You have to kind of cater it to your preferences, and you can have the loadouts. But I don't think it's crap. I don't think it's Platinum's best.
I find that that's what makes the game completely unique and makes it like nothing like anything else, because the gameplay, it's perfectly fine. Like, there is enjoyment out of it. But even the visuals, like, straight off the bat, the visuals will confuse you because you're kind of going, is it just me or does it look a bit shit at times? Do you know?
I was thinking that.
You're kind of like the enemy design, the how brown everything kind of is. And
but it also looks really beautiful.
Oh my fucking God. Just,
you know,
Nicola, you should just stop recording and just go and play.
Yeah.
Well, I am a bit mad keen on it. I have to say, as soon as I started playing it, and I was just like, what's going on? It keeps changing how you play it, which I just thought was incredible.
No games.
No, they don't.
Games can do that. Movies can't do that. Movies can't go from a comedy to a horror film to a whatever. They can't just keep I'm just going to be something completely different now, because you'd go through that and go, what the fuck's going on? But in this, because it's a game, you go, oh, what the fuck's going on? And it's amazing.
Also, as well, I just want to throw in there the music.
Oh,
Yep.
Definitely. Yeah. That's already got me.
Oh,
but, like I say, the mission I've just done got me a bit, punched me in the gut a little bit. So
I'm trying to remember what that was.
I know.
Should I spoil it? I don't
know. I don't think
really
you should,
early.
Because I still think there's time that people, like, they should play this. I think there's a couple of people out there who haven't actually gone near it yet.
Yeah, no, I won't then. I won't.
What excites me is that because I was because I didn't know what you think of this. Because you can't know what someone's going to think of. I figured you'd like it because I think it's an amazing game, and everyone who's played it thinks it's an amazing game, it seems. But you never know. But what excites me now is now you're in. That means every time we do a podcast, you get to tell us a bit more, and and that's kind of like reliving it for me. And I can't wait to hear what happens after the next bit. I will ask one
question though that has cropped up a couple of times in games that I've been playing, because as you know, I've been branching out a little bit more from my normal shooty games, and I've been playing Okami. And I've played NieR, and I've been playing Final Fantasy 15. I can't think of any others. But what is the obsession with fishing, man?
Japanese apparently like fishing. I don't know. It's the honest answer. I don't know if either of you guys know, but I don't know that it's just a thing that's in Japanese games for some reason.
And I got to the bit where you find the sort of encampment area.
Oh, when
that's
you first
go
There's
down.
A little pond, isn't there?
And there's a little pond outside it.
That's
and I was like, walk by it, and it says, press this to fish. And I'm like, what the fuck? You want me? Why am I fishing?
But listen, why not? You've just gone from a hack and slash to a shmup, so why not fish?
True. Anyway, I'm all in on that. Mad keen.
Oh, that's so good to hear. That's so good to hear.
I finished Hellblade.
What did you think of that?
I think we know what you thought of it by the way you said that.
I'm just curious.
I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. Okay. I couldn't play it in long periods of time because it disturbed me a little bit. But there were two fights in particular that really pissed me off, that kind of tarnished it a little bit for me. One of them was on a bridge, very close to the end.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the other one was slightly earlier than that, when you're in, like, the Sea of Sorrows or something. It just fucking keeps throwing enemies at you. And I'm just like, seriously, you've got 4 different enemy types here, and all you're doing is throwing them at me in different numbers. It kind of got on my nerves a little bit there, but I did enjoy the game very much. I was actually quite impressed with it. But I finished that. And then I got my Switch at Christmas, and I've been playing SteamWorld Dig 2 on it.
Which is another fantastic game.
It's lovely. I'm really hooked on it. So
nice.
I'm hooked on it. Along with Rainbow Six Siege and everything else. I just sit there playing. I just play 24/7.
Listen, it is a great time to be into games.
Yeah.
It is.
My husband keeps kicking me off my PS4 at the moment to play Call of Duty campaigns, so I just sit on the sofa laughing at him playing SteamWorld Dig 2. It's great.
Did you pick it up in the sale, yeah?
I did.
Yeah.
How much was it then? Did it go cheap?
It's like a tenner, maybe.
Oh, that's a great price.
Yeah, I think I paid 10 or 11 euro, and I have it there ready to go.
I picked that up. I bought
it.
Thimbleweed Park, which I haven't played yet. And I bought Stardew Valley. I was gonna go.
Yeah,
I got
that.
Anyway.
That's a really fun game to have on the Switch.
Well, I've got Stardew on my Xbox. It's perfect for the Switch. I'm loving it.
Is it perfect for the Switch?
Perfect for the Switch.
Is it? Okay.
But that's the games I've been playing, which is quite a lot, really, isn't it?
You've been busy.
I've been
busy. We should ask Mr. Carroll what he's been up to. I mean,
so the game, I've only played 2 games, and this game, it's almost become a parody on this podcast
already. 3 episodes into 2018.
I know it's come from all 3 that I've been on, but I have been playing Horizon Zero Dawn again. Okay, I'm sorry. Get the fuck over it.
No, don't apologise.
But I've been playing the Frozen Wilds.
It's kind of a sucker punch because they've got over an hour in and thought, "Oh, no, Horizon Zero Dawn. There it is. There it is."
No, but
I won't mention it in any of the blurb. There won't be any picture of it anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I got the Frozen Wilds, went straight in. I think that DLC is fantastic. Like it does everything that you know and love from Horizon if you have played it. There's
80 hours, Adam. I've put 80 hours into Horizon.
Yeah, I'm on like 60 at this stage now. I think I'm coming to like the second last mission or something in the Frozen Wilds. But there's a lot there's a lot of stuff I like that they've brought in new to Frozen Wilds, such as the music anyway, okay? I don't know what it is, but the soundtrack in the Frozen Wilds is better than the main game. It's mental.
Christ.
But visually, it is, I just want the game to stay there. Like, this area that they have designed, I think looks incredible. The game looks amazing anyway, we all know that.
Can you imagine what Horizon 2 is going to look like?
Oh, stop. And we're going to talk about it all the time. It's going to be great. The one thing I will say about Frozen Wilds, though, very quickly, right? I don't need to go into the combat, whatever like that. The story seems to carry a little bit more emotion than the main game. I personally find.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, there's a couple of moments, right? There's one mission in particular called Waterlogged, okay? And you meet this, I'm not going to spoil territory, but I'm just going to name the character. It's Gildan, is his name, okay? It's a really minor character of this whole thing. But my God, he is so incredible. Like, he has this... When you meet him, it becomes this element of like what it's like when Nate and Sully are together in Uncharted. It just, it's full of this like happy humor, but you really feel for this character for some unknown reason. It's very hard to like explain it without like spoiling it, obviously. But
yeah,
I don't know. Like, I've heard no one talk about this character in this mission, and I just think it's something that I was like, what, like. Because once you do the quest, you kind of step away, and I, at that particular moment, was like, "Here, like, do you want to come with me? Like, are you sure you're okay? Like, come with me, because we're like really good friends now, and I really like you." That's how I felt when I was playing it. I don't know, it was something really minor, but it just hit me massively. But it's really tough. The Frozen Wilds ramps up in difficulty. Like, they bring in a couple of new enemies and stuff, and it's a lot. They're way more aggressive, but absolutely fantastic. Loving it. The other thing I played. No, right, here we go. This game, I just wish somebody told me about this game before.
You fucking bastard. I was worried for a minute you were going to just break my heart, and then you said, like, I think this is worse. This is worse.
Okay, so as the listeners know, last week on the podcast, I purchased Devil May Cry. The postman came to my house, he dropped it through the letterbox. I went, oh, brilliant, it's here, let's start it. I sat and played the whole thing from start to finish in one sitting.
Wow.
Now,
hell.
I didn't rush this. I put it on at like 1 o'clock, and I think I wrapped it up at about 2:30 in the morning. I could not stop playing this game. What?
I think I'm going to cry.
See, like, there's so much greatness in it. I cannot believe everything you've been saying, Adam, everything that Colin was saying about it. It just, how have people not been like, Devil May Cry, we need a sequel. We need a sequel. It just needs to happen. Like, the whole world needs to shout this. The gameplay, as you said last week, you on the podcast went, it's the best gameplay on this game of that style. Like,
I think it's probably the best hack and slash game combat.
Yeah,
I think it's probably the best. I'm trying to think what would be better.
Like, you're very much right on it. I think like it is the best on it. Like, it becomes very confusing at first. I do have to say, like, there is a lot of there's a lot of dashing in the air, but you're pressing L2X and you're double jumping, and like the combos. It does become a fighting game as such.
Yes, but it does. Yeah.
Like the pace of the game and the just sheer madness that goes on
when that metal soundtrack kicks in, like in your and you're in the air juggling and.
But I'm going to say it brought in these elements of these games that I love the most. And all I'm going to say is the news anchor.
Oh, that is one of the best boss fights of any game.
I did definitely pause the game and raise my hands and just go, this is the fucking business. You
want to clap it, don't you? You just want to applaud that moment. That is unreal.
It's superb in all its design, and once you get the gameplay down, you just become an absolute animal in the fighting. And it does that whole like ranking in the corner, like all Devil May Cry games have done. But you know, what's the word? Is it sensational or sadistic? Sadistic. It says. Yeah. And he says it in such a like menacing. It's like Doom or something. It becomes in very much. And the humor in it, I thought was absolutely perfect. I thought it was well balanced. It wasn't forced. It wasn't too much. There's a brilliant element, like a brilliant moment of humor when you're fighting a boss called the Succubus, and this is a very minor thing, but the Succubus just goes, "Who the fuck are you?" And then he just says something else, and then the Succubus goes, "Fuck you," and then Dante goes, "Fuck you," and it's just this constant back and forth.
I think that was in the demo I played years ago when it first released on the 360. Yeah, because that rang a bell with me, because that put me off actually, because I thought it was really forced.
Yeah, see,
I think it out of context. You know, that's a slice in the middle of the game. Because you got to realise, like, for anyone that's played any other Devil May Cry, this version of this Dante is, you just look at him and go, who is this? And I think that was the situation when it was first announced. And once the game starts, and Chris brought this up last week, the opening of it, you totally get his humour, you totally get his whole thing. He just doesn't care. He's not fazed by anything at all throughout the entire game. And everything happens so quickly to him. There's a moment where something jumps in front of him, he just goes, yeah, whatever. And he just like walks away from it. And it's such an interesting take, a new take on, I'm going to say it right now, this is the best Dante. And it's only one game. It's the best. It is, yeah, it is. It is. Everything about this is the best Devil May Cry. Everything.
I don't know. And I'm going to play through it again. Like, I have to, because it's the DLC, because you got the PS4 version. Yeah,
Does that mean the DLC's wrapped in there?
Yeah,
the virtual stuff? Because I even remember that being quite good. That's right. But I remember that being quite good, because his combat is quite different.
Yeah. And as I said, I think I picked this up for something like £12.
Oh. Do you see what I mean now when I said you were basically stealing from Amazon? Like,
yeah, I am. I apologise to Amazon. You know,
well, to me,
have more money from me. It's just sublime, and like I do think that everybody should play this game. Like, I know it came out in 2013. People don't like going back to games. That's just the way we are these days. I think with video games, people just like to keep going because we're flooded with so many new titles that we just don't want to miss out.
Yep.
But you need to kind of step back and go, do you know what? I'm not going to play this really hyped game because it's not for me. Like, I think a lot of people need to just do that and go back to a game that they might have missed out on, that is for them, or they think will be for them. Because Devil May Cry, I now want a sequel, and anybody that like hasn't played this game needs to play it now. Like, do exactly what I did. Just buy it. It's got
parallels, actually. I think there's a lovely parallel, and I think I'm glad that apparently NieR Automata has done well enough that they want to make more. But there's a definite parallel, because in the way you talked about the news anchor boss battle, I think there's a lot of that stuff in NieR where you almost have to stop and go, how? How is this happening? And it's like, oh, that's right, because games can do anything.
That's what I mean. It's these kind of games that seem to have their audience, and whoever has played this kind of game is just like in love with it. It's the exact same. I can guarantee you, from what I've played, and I'm going to continue, Yakuza 0 is quite similar.
Yes, in as much as it's like only games can do this. In terms of its madness,
in terms of just like, what is this, or what's going on? These moments that like we don't get all that often.
In any other medium, really.
Yeah, and like NieR is that. Like, I can see, and I hate seeing it, but I can see something like NieR drifting. Yeah. Like, not far away, but it's going to be there, and people know about it, but they're like, yeah, I heard about it, yeah, I must get that eventually. And it's like, no, well, must get that now.
That little postcard thing they sent out that I read, I think, in the Game of the Year podcast, like,
yeah,
they did it because, I mean, I won't call him out as such, but I would guess I know exactly who at Square Enix was behind that, and he's a really good bloke, and I spoke to him, and he said about the game, like, of all his career working in PR in a game, it's the favourite game he's ever worked on. He loves NieR, and then obviously he's part of his job is to be aware of what happens in the game, so then journalists get hold of it, play it, review it, blah, blah, blah. You know, the cycle continues. And I think he would have sent that out because he genuinely is like, please don't forget about this game.
Yeah.
Please, it's important. It's so, you know.
Like, there is only a couple of games that have ever made me, like, play to that extreme, you know, in the one go. Like, to show how much I loved it, I even at one point went, I should probably take a break right now. So I kind of like turned off the PlayStation, turned off the PlayStation, walked out of the room, put on the kettle, and I went, fucking, I'm going back.
Did you eat, Adam? Did you eat?
I can't even remember. Like, wow. I genuinely,
That's something else.
I just absolutely adored it. I don't know. You could just make a whole podcast on this game. Like,
Yep.
That's what games are there for, but this is one of those ones where, like, Nicola, when you finish NieR, you're going to be exactly how I am right now with Devil May Cry times probably 100.
Yep.
Can't wait, I'm so excited.
Yeah, so please, anybody who has not played Devil May Cry, Adam Cook has been championing this for a long time.
I'm now
going to go ahead.
I haven't played it.
Just don't even think about what you did play, or however, just go for it. And you'll absolutely love it, I can guarantee you. So, like, that's what I've been playing. Adam Cook, what have you been playing, my man?
Mate, I'm back into fighting games. No, look, I went down a Pez hole. I got
Sorry, what?
Pez,
sorry, what?
Pro Evo. Okay. Sorry,
just
I shouldn't have said that. No, I jumped back into my Master League and I've played through over half a season in under half a week, and I won't stick on it too long because we've talked about Pez so much, but I had this moment playing against Leicester, and like, I know if you're not into football, and I know, like, Adam, I know Nicola, you're not, but so I'll be very brief. This is directly to Chris.
Totally fine, because I think Pez is an absolutely fantastic game.
Okay, well, I mean, I've already told Chris this in private because we had a game of Pez, we did some co-op. But to the listener, like, if you know anything about football, if you know how Leicester play, or certainly how Leicester played when they won the season, they would sit back and they would beat you on the break. And I'm playing as Liverpool because I usually pick one of my kids' teams, and that, you know, it's just fun to play as Liverpool. They've got good players, and I was dominating, and then I could not beat Leicester, and it was almost like the game had just gone, no matter what you do, you, young man, are not winning this match. And nothing would work. Just nothing would work. And I lost my first match of the season. Fast forward a few more games, and I actually had Leicester again in the cup. And I thought, right, this time. And it was only when I decided I cannot play the tactics I've been playing. It was like a fighting game almost, you know, where you have to go, this isn't working. I have to change something. So I changed from my 4-man defence to pulling back, and I managed to get in the lead, but I did last time when they still beat me, because the way they play on the break. So I put another defender in at the back, went 5 at the back, and I was secured up. And it's like, that's real life. The thing I've just done, that's what real football managers do. That's, you know, I coach football as well, and it's the same thing. You're watching your team play, and you go, okay, we need to change this. And it's the reactive element of football, the thing that makes people who love football love the tactics of it, because you have to change something. And my change won me the match. And I don't think FIFA quite gets that. That's one thing I would always say. And that felt like a magical thing. So yeah, it's just big time back into playing Pez.
Can I quickly just ask you there, because I don't know this. Are you a fan? Is this Pez better than last year? Because I heard...
I think PES 2018 is the best football game ever made. I've made no secret of that.
Because it seemed to be like PES 2017 was... it was the one. It was like people were PES are taking it right now. And then FIFA came out with FIFA 18 and it went back again.
FIFA 18 is very good. It's very good. But PES 18... I genuinely did. I thought, how are they going to improve 17? With 18, they did it, and then some. But I can certainly see there are elements already where you're like, you still need to work on this. Yeah. There are some things they can do nothing about. They can't buy the licenses. They can't do it. It's not like the old days where you had like multiple football games with all the licenses, or like where NBA, where you got 2 NBA licensed games. You know, it doesn't work that way. EA have bought the exclusivity. They just can't do. There's just nothing they can do about that. I think that's a great shame, because
people get really pissed off about that.
Yeah, you can put them back in if you go on PS4 or PC. You can put them back in. Yeah. It's not very hard. Go to a site like Pez World, and there's an easy tutorial. You just need a USB stick, and it's you download it, you put it on the USB stick, you put it in your PlayStation, you do a couple of buttons, and you just walk off and leave it. It's very easy. But yeah, I'm down back down the Pez hole again. I finished Tekken 7 story mode. I'm going to say this, mostly speaking to Chris here, I guess. Chris, I think the story mode for that's straight up bad.
Yeah, it's not amazing.
I think Tekken 7 is amazing. Like, I'm completely turned around. It's a fantastic fighting game. It's the best Tekken. The story mode is garbage, and they get boss battles completely wrong, and the story is told poorly. And like they do this thing where you jump around characters, which is what fighting games do, but they also make you fight as one of the characters more than any of the others. And I don't play as Heihachi, and you play as him a lot. So, Tekken 7... We're gonna have a look at some video of that. We're gonna look at the season pass stuff. We're gonna look at Tekken Bowl, because that used to be great. Don't know what that's like now. And Geese Howard, the new DLC character. We're gonna look at some of that in video, so I won't dwell on that too long. What I also have been playing, another fighting game, Street Fighter 5. I finally decided, right, this is coming out again, so I need to get some practice in, no matter what they're going to change. And my opinion hasn't really changed. Street Fighter 5 is a fantastic fighting game. It was killed by the launch. That's what put me off. What I did do, or what I've started doing, which I hadn't done because it didn't exist at the time, was there's proper story mode. The way that Injustice does it, the way Tekken does it, they've added that later. Again, fighting's great. And I'm not going to lie, I don't talk about this stuff often because there's a million people who do it better than me. And it's, I feel put off of some of the character designs in this game. Like, I'm a red-blooded male, but like, they don't always have to have their tits out in a fighting game. Like, do you know what I mean? I know. I can't. It's not many games nowadays that your wife or significant other or kids or whatever walk in and you're like, oh, turn the channel. I'm not watching porn. It's not porn. And like some of the characters in this game, it's so stupid. It's extreme and stupid.
It's just pointless now. It's not even funny anymore. It was kind of like back in the day, maybe when Dead or Alive was coming out, you were just like, what the fuck?
You know what you're getting with that, but
this
like...
is mental. But now it's kind of a bit like, all right.
But like, if I was to say to you Chun-Li, even if not a fighting game fan... Well, no, what I was going to ask her, what colour does she wear?
Blue. Like a blue?
Yeah,
blue
like a blue... It's blue. I think anyone who gives a shit about Street Fighter, and a lot of people who don't know, she wears... Her iconic blue suit in the way that Ryu wears his white, and Ken's in red or whatever, like these are iconic colours that go with these characters, Blanca's green, Guile's green, that sort of stuff. So, like, when Chun-Li comes on the screen, is there really any need to start the camera pan of hers from crotch height up, like, and then to go up to her head? Like, it's whatever. I say there's a million people who can talk about this better than I can. It's a bit off-putting.
You're just being a dad.
I'm being a prude, I guess. But like, it's also, I mean, my God, is it badly written? My God, and I don't mean like the story shit. I mean actually written badly. Like, there's a section where Rashid, one of the new characters, basically everyone's collecting these pieces that will stop Bison from taking over the world, and he wants the pieces so he can take over the world, and all these pieces are sent out to different Street Fighter characters, and they're all meeting up, there's little clicks starting, and blah, blah, blah. And Rashid jumps in, and he's like, oh, I want to borrow it, and he literally jumps away, and his parting shot, because he's quite a nice guy, and he's trying to be good and not fight, the way he leaves the scene is, I know you don't believe me, but please believe me, and then he goes. And I'm there like,
dialogue.
I don't see the problem.
No, not at all. Dialogue, beautiful dialogue. I'm going to carry on with that. I'm going to finish that. I've played other stuff, but nothing major. But like I know you don't believe me, but please believe me. In one sentence, nobody went. Maybe just change the second belief to trust. I don't know you don't believe me, but trust me. Maybe just change. No, you want believe twice? Fine. That's absolutely fine. Well, believe me, listener, we've got some news to talk about. We've got to do. It's mostly Nintendo this week because that's the way it works. But there's some other bits and bobs. I just wanted to throw this in there for two reasons. First of all, Sea of Thieves has got a closed beta from January 24th until 28th. Actually, there's three reasons I want to mention this. First of all, they also announced a controller. That controller is badass. That is a brilliant controller.
It's sexy.
Second of all, I wanted to ask Nicola if she got into the beta.
Oh, I didn't know about it.
Okay.
This is how mad keen I am on Sea of Thieves. I didn't know. I've been busy. Have you not heard all the games you've been playing?
Yes, yeah, no, I have. Well, and the third reason I wanted to mention it is because I can finally, not yet, but soon, talk about for some reason, this beta you can take video of, you can stream, you can do whatever. Wow. So I can actually take video and talk about this game. So that's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Moving on.
What do I have to do to get in it?
I think you just go to their website, and I think they're just pretty much accepting everyone now. I think if you sign up, you'll get into it.
Right, okay, I'll do that then.
Star Wars Battlefront 2 hasn't been in the news for 5 minutes, so that was apparently the most downloaded game on PlayStation Store in December. It topped the PS4 games in first place with FIFA, even beating FIFA 18 and Call of Duty.
Wow.
The highest new entry was Gang Beasts, surprisingly. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was sixth best-selling game in December. But I guess
not surprising with Battlefront.
No, I thought the game was bad.
No, I don't think so, because there was a massive price cut in December for it, and if I'm brutally honest, the game is good. It's a good game.
If I'm brutally honest,
don't forget the movie would have got
the movie would have helped.
Battlefront 2 is the best looking and sounding Star Wars game ever made. I'll say that straight out. Yeah, okay. It has its gripes and stuff, but you will find enjoyment in that game. Definitely if you're a Star Wars fan, but even if you're just into Battlefield and stuff, it's well worth the 40 quid, whatever. I think
I like it.
Yeah, it's up against a lot of competition at the moment with PUBG and everything and Fortnite. That's all the rage. But I don't know. I think Battlefront 2 is definitely worth your time. I don't know wherever it'll go. Who knows? But for the price reduction, get it. I do think so.
Well, a game you won't be getting. I've moved these stories around if you're looking at our itinerary because I don't want to end on a really miserable note. A website called MP First, I think it's multiplayer. Yeah, multiplayerfirst.com is reporting that Lawbreakers on Steam, the player count has finally hit 0.
Wow.
Fucking hell.
They say that they first assumed the 0 was due to some kind of maintenance or downtime, but they can't find any evidence of the game on their social media or anything. They can't find any player submit reports. We knew it had been. They said, with the player base dwindling for a month, it seems it's only a matter of time. But that doesn't mean no one's played it. It means that at some point nobody was playing it at all.
Shit.
And
that's a shame, I do think that's a shame. I mean, I know people seem to think that Blazinski's a bit of a
tool. But he's not the only one that made that game, is he?
But even if he is a bit of a tool, I just think it's a shame because what I played in the beta on PS4, it looked like a game that I'd have fun with. So I don't.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's better types of these kind of games.
Well, they are apparently blaming PUBG, weren't they? There was another story. I haven't got it to hand, but they were saying something like they blamed.
It was the publisher that was blaming PUBG.
Oh, was it with Nexon?
It wasn't.
Yes, you're quite right.
Key.
It was. No, it was Nexon.
Yeah, but there was that weird thing on Eurogamer, wasn't there, where they were trolling Cliffy B, which I didn't quite get. I didn't really understand that. But anyway, I think it's a shame. I do think it's a shame.
Yeah. I don't think we ever really needed Lawbreakers.
No,
that's fair.
I just, if you found enjoyment out of it, fair enough. But look, count hit 0. It says it all, really.
I think the problem with Lawbreakers was it seemed to be coming for a long, long time, didn't it? We had Battleborn that was coming. Do you remember? It was Battleborn, Overwatch, and Lawbreakers all seemed to be the same kind of game.
That's right.
But Lawbreakers took a bit longer to come out, and I think.
Yeah, because they probably saw Overwatch and went, "Oh Jesus!"
Yeah, I mean, I haven't put it in the news, but Overwatch is that first Overwatch League thing was watched by 400,000 people apparently. So that game's just going bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it is. It's a phenomenal game.
It is. Listen, I think it was our game of the year in 2016, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
Moving on then, open world platformer Faye, I guess, or Fee? I'm not sure how you
pronounce it.
Fee,
I would have thought it would be called.
It's Faye.
Oh, it's Faye. Okay.
It's Faye, yeah. Yeah, it's Faye. Because I was only after watching the direct and your man talking says Faye.
Yeah, but you need to stick an A in that. Otherwise it's
Yeah,
C.
I know. I do remember, but whatever it was, I think, was it the Game Awards? They were on it and they were discussing how to pronounce it as well, and they did say Faye as well. So
well, they're missing a letter. Who can I write to tell them?
Well, you can write to Zoink Games, who I quite like the games they've developed, because they did that Stick It to the Man.
They did the
Viking one too.
Zombie one as well,
That's
didn't they?
right.
Which is one of my very first review games.
That's right. That one wasn't great, was it? Or was it all right?
It was all right.
Yeah. I quite like Stick It to the Man. I liked the. I mean, the one thing their games share is they seem to have a sort of very definitive art style. Like they look unique. But this is an EA Originals game, and that's coming out on the 16th of February for Xbox One, PS4, PC, and Switch. Yeah, again, it looks interesting. I can't quite get too much of what it is.
It's a sell for me if it's on the Switch. That's just the way I look at it. If it's going to be like €20 to buy or £20 or whatever, I like to support these things regardless of whether it's like bad or good, whatever, you know. But it looks quite nice, but it's impossible to tell what these games are going to be. It's hard to get excited when you see so many of these indie games come out and you kind of go, yeah, you got a great art style, but what's the story? Is it going to be an emotional game? Is it going to be action packed? You just don't know, you see. But Faye seems to be delivering a nice looking story, a kind of a fairy tale kind of side. But I don't know, I give it a go. As I said, it's going to be on my Switch, so I'm going to be delighted.
Well, I'll tell you a game I bet everyone here is dead excited to give a go. Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, yeah.
What a strange story this is, and also what an example of the power of social media. So nobody's really heard much about CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077 for a long time. And no one still heard anything at the time of recording. But their official Twitter account just tweeted... they just tweeted beep, the word beep with asterisks around it. And everyone has gone apeshit. Does that mean the game is there information? What's going to happen? That's the news story. That's literally all I have for you.
That's all they need, though, isn't it? Cyberpunk.
But isn't that fucking crazy?
CD Projekt Red have got so much goodwill, I think, after the phenomenal Witcher 3 that folk are just mad. I mean, I'm salivating just thinking about this.
That you can just tweet beep and people are just losing their shit. I mean, I agree with that. I love CD Projekt Red, but
it's the same thing when Rockstar do something that faintly resembles Red Dead Redemption. People were going, ah, weren't they? When that
I mean, Rockstar can release a teaser for a trailer of a trailer.
Yeah,
like
I know.
Wow,
I can't wait. I don't know. There's something about like CD Projekt Red. We obviously all love them, but like how they handled every single day from when The Witcher 3 was released was something else. They were just on top of everything, listening to every fan, everybody who wanted something different. They just patched it, they delivered it. Even when their Game of the Year came out, it was just like, there you go, there's no real patch at all. It's just, it's perfect, it's done. And I was like, you're just an amazing like group of people like in the video game industry.
Yeah, they are though. They're good. I think I've told my story about them doing the save for me many times before, so I won't tell it again here. But lastly, before we get into the real meat of it, is Assassin's Creed Rogue. Remember that game, anyone?
Nope.
Is this the one with? Is it Connor Patrick Shea?
Yes, it is.
Oh, Jesus.
It's basically Black Flag 2. It was the same game as last gen, wasn't
it? That character's name alone. Should be a clear sign of why this game should not be brought back to life.
Apparently, it's very good though.
That's not what I've heard.
I can't remember if I've played it. Like that's the way it is with Assassin's Creed games now. Was
this the one just released for the PS3?
Yes.
And Xbox 360. It was basically it was the one that came after Black Flag.
Yeah.
That was only released on last gen, and it was very much Black Flag 2 in all but name.
Yeah.
But it's getting a remastered version basically for PC, PS4 and Xbox One. That's coming in March 2018. All DLC missions and weapon packs will be included. A new outfit, which is the outfit.
There's absolutely no point with Origins just coming out.
Well, it's got 4K support.
Chris, they might honestly think that Connor Patrick Shea has something to say. All right.
I'm surprised they didn't put Shea in there, to be honest.
I think it's Connor Patrick Shea.
It's like putting Irish names on a dartboard, isn't it? Like,
oh my god, yeah, that's terrible.
I'm gonna have to check this out now just to
They
make
should.
sure.
Please
No,
tell
it
me
is.
it's not
It is,
an
Adam. You're
O'Shea.
right. They should have. That's the only thing they could have done more in it. Like they could have gone Connor Patrick O'Shea.
Yeah.
That's about as much
No,
as
sorry. It's Shea Patrick Cormac.
That's it.
That's even worse.
That's worse somehow.
Shea, like, I'm sorry, but that's just acting the bollocks, giving that name out.
Yep, it is.
Oh, Christ.
Shea Patrick Cormac. I probably will actually play it, to be honest.
After all that, I'll play it.
I'm sold. Day one. Game of the year.
So Nintendo then, speaking of day one game of the year, Nintendo Direct, I will blast through what they've done and we can decide what we want to talk about. So they put out, we'll come to the sort of weirdness around the Direct later because we have a listener question about that, but we just talk about the news element. So Mario Tennis Aces, which is like a new version of the Wii U version of Mario Tennis. That's coming spring 2018, and it's going to have like a story mode, which is interesting. Now, the game wasn't very good, so it'll be interesting what they do with it. Dark Souls Remastered, which we definitely will talk about, is one of the biggest things. That is coming to PS4, Xbox, and Switch on the 25th of May. Mario Odyssey has got an update in February. Kirby Star Allies has been dated. That's the 16th of March. And thank you for listening to me, Nintendo. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is coming to Switch on the 4th of May. Hyrule Warriors is getting released again, Definitive Edition in spring. The World Ends With You, Final Remix 2018. Do you want to start with? Do you want to start with Dark Souls?
Yeah, let's get out of the way.
Excited?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I am excited.
I'm not asked about it on Switch.
Okay.
Yeah,
I am then.
Well, is it perfect for Switch?
No,
it's not. Is it? It's not. It's absolutely not. You're going to snap your Switch in half.
Look, I'm just going to say, right, not to jump the gun here, but I'm going to put it out there right now that Dark Souls Remastered and Donkey Kong for the Switch, they're the two games that are going to be the reasons that we're going to see a lot of broken Switches.
Well, no, you see, Donkey Kong Country has got, like, it looks to me, so the new character they've put into the game, was it Funky Kong, isn't it? I feel like that's the easy mode because there's a bit they showed where he's got his surfboard and he can jump on his surfboard to stop him getting hurt when he's on spikes, which is like easy mode, isn't it?
Don't be falling for that now, right? This is going to be an absolute pain in the arse of the game.
I can't wait.
It was hard as nails on the Wii U, and it's going to be the same on this.
Yeah.
What was the one that was on the Wii? Because I played that a little bit.
That was Country.
Country
sorry?
Return, Donkey Kong Country Returns or something.
It might have been. It wasn't Tropical Freeze was definitely Wii U because it's the one game I missed really on the Wii U. I never got around to getting it. Dark Souls Remastered, remastered. Like again, it's going to be an inferior version. It's going to be 1080p on PS4. It's 4K 60 if you want it. Be interesting to see what this is if it's Dark Souls put into the Dark Souls 3 sort of engine, because the game didn't run that well back then, and it still doesn't now. So it'd be interesting to see what they do, because I don't know how much involvement From are going to have because they keep saying they're done with Souls.
For me, I'm only interested in this if it is actually a proper remaster.
Yeah.
Because I've got the 360 version that I can play on my Xbox One through backwards compatibility. So that I could play it that way.
You could play it anyway, yeah.
I can play it anyway, yeah. So I'm only interested if they actually do properly remaster it in, let's say, the Dark Souls 3 engine and sort out the connectivity stuff, because it never really worked that well on the first game, did it? So if you could have the same connectivity that you have with Dark Souls 3, then I'm interested. If it's just a scrubbed up port from the original, then I'm not bothered because I can already play that.
The way I look at it with being on the Switch is that straight off the bat anyway, I've never played the first Dark Souls, so that's an instant plus for me. Visually, look, it's not going to. If it comes out looking like 3, then I'd be like, wow, that's amazing. But like, it just has to run well. But the thing is, I think Dark Souls, I treat that the same. The Souls games, even Bloodborne alone, I like to see these finally come to handheld, because I would say the same thing about Persona. It's like, the Souls games for me, if I sit down and I'm just not in the flow and I'm constantly dying, I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, this is just frustrating. We've all been there. But if you have it on the go, you might go, or I have 10 minutes to spare there, I'll have a bash off the boss. Do you know,
See,
like there and then.
I just don't think it's going to feel good on the controls, like
handheld
mode.
This is where we're going to have to bring a pro controller into place.
Right, fair. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Do you know, if you have a pro controller, then handy. But I'm not going to be playing it like docked like that.
No, okay. I mean, this is to me basically will be the PC version, so it will run better, it will be smoother, it will be the textures will be tighter. I don't think people should get their expectations up too high. I mean, to be honest with you, the biggest thing from this Nintendo Direct that I feel excited about is that Mario Odyssey update.
Oh, it was great, wasn't it?
What an incredible idea.
I thought it was fantastic. I was like, instantly I just went, I'm in. I'm sold.
Hide and seek in a game. Like, that's kind of genius.
And I guarantee you it will be super hard. There'll be some people doing crazy stuff with it.
Oh, there will people. I mean, do you know how before this was announced, there's lots of videos for Mario where people are like, look, I've managed to do 8 million jumps and get up here, and Nintendo have put coins on here.
Yeah.
I kind of think now we know why.
That's where people
are going to be hiding the balloons.
What I want to know here, Nicola, did you get Super Mario Odyssey?
It arrived today.
Oh my God! Once again, get
off
the podcast and start playing. Jesus,
I haven't loaded it onto a Switch yet because I basically got NieR, put that in my machine, downloaded it, and started playing that.
Don't stop playing NieR.
Started playing NieR, so I haven't actually done anything. I've not even taken the cellophane off Odyssey yet.
Well, yeah, I mean that's there's not a lot to say about it. It's just it's good to see that they are not disappearing. I mean. Again, feels personal that the fine, thank you, Tropical Freeze, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Where's Mario Maker? Come on now. That's the next one, please.
To be honest, I haven't thought about Mario Maker at all since the Switch was released.
Where's fucking Smash Brothers?
Oh, God.
That's incredible that they haven't put that out yet. Yeah. Anyway, we move on to listener correspondence, and we start with Matt King at Kinger_8938, who asks the question, and we'll start with Chris on this one. Do any of you ever return to the older systems or games? He's currently playing Metroid Prime 2, he says, for the first time on GameCube, and it holds up rather well.
Yeah, kind of. I basically, my old Wii is in my girls' room now, so they've started, because I had... they've got Galaxy, so we play on that a little bit. But I did download Super Mario Bros. 2 and 3, bought them on the eShop ages ago. So my eldest has started playing through 3, and it's going back to that now. It's still so good. Not that it just holds up perfectly. It's so gorgeous still. It just got that magic still after Galaxy, after Odyssey. After all these games, so it's really good to go back to that. And even Super Mario Bros. 2, which I really enjoyed, and it's completely different to kind of the other two, the other three kind of main Mario games, like Super Mario World 1 and 3. But it's just excellent. I just love those two games so much. So they're the only two I've kind of gone back to. When I had my Vita before I got rid of it last year, I was on Metal Gear Solid, the first one, but I don't really dip back in unless it's to kind of show my kids certain games that I think they'd enjoy, and they don't care about retro. They just play a game because they love to play a game. So that's why I like showing them kind of old games. And she started browsing some games on a 3DS, like some older games like Link to the Past and stuff like that. And she's got Ocarina of Time. She's been playing that. She loves that. So yeah, it's nice to go back to the old Nintendo games that I kind of was grew up on, and I'm not doing it kind of to force her on it. I'm just letting her find out for herself, and she's finding these games on her own. So
it's funny you mentioned Mario
nice.
Because same things happen with me. Because my son, my youngest, to say he's 10, he decided to humiliate me by completing the hardest level in the game of Mario Odyssey. He needed a new challenge, and he asked if we could get. It's actually some of the older Nintendo stuff is hard to play because they don't do so much with backwards compatibility. So he wanted to play Mario 64, and I thought, and in fact, I'm almost certain I reviewed Mario 64 on 3DS, but I can't find that cartridge anywhere in this house. And I've had a massive clear. I cannot find it. So we ended up buying it on the Wii U, which I then had to set up again. And he's, that's I suppose that's an older system and certainly an older game.
Yeah.
But I don't really have the time. I would like to. I'd like to play DMC again. All this talk of it's made me think about that. I'd like to play NieR again. I guess my answer is no, apart from that. I don't know about you, Adam?
All the time.
Do you?
All the time. Yeah, it's really funny when, bring up this question, because I actually ask this exact same question when I'm, drunk. All the time to one of my friends. I discuss about old games. I think it's actually kind of, it kind of makes me sad when people don't, because there's still so many games, the amount of people I've met who have never played Spec Ops: The Line, and I'm just
what a game.
Things like this, and even my GameCube, my SNES, my PS2 are always set up. I have them all set up on the
I've been thinking
TV.
about doing that. I had a massive clear out, found a 360, found a PS3, found what else did I find? I found a SNES, and I thought, should I just set all this up? Nah, but I thought about it.
Man, you should, because I went back and I played Soul Calibur 2, which I personally think is the best fighting game of all time.
Okay.
Eternal Darkness, Mario Kart Double Dash, it's so good to go back, because it just makes you remember why we do this.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? And it's gotten to such a weird stage now where there's even some people, I want to go back and play Alien Isolation.
Oh.
Okay? I want to go back and do it, and there's nothing stopping me, but I'm always I need to play this now. There's always something else.
Yeah, there's always something.
Do you know? But it should happen. It should happen a lot more. It's different when you're, obviously, when everyone's doing this kind of job, but keeping up to date with stuff. But everyone should go back to old games. I always think about going back to the Dead Space trilogy all the time.
Yeah, I can't do that. Makes me sad. It's interesting you say about how everyone should do this and that. And now Nicola's got to answer whether she does. Nope. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah.
The thing is you guys are all talking about games, and I'm thinking, well, they're recent games. See, if I was to go back to games that I grew up on,
don't say it, please.
I'm do I have to dig out an Amstrad CPC 464, a Spectrum?
I've still got my Spectrum. I've still got a Spectrum. I think it's in my mum's loft.
Because I'll tell you something.
Play some school
I'm
days.
not sitting 30 minutes waiting for Chucky Egg to load or not. I'm not doing it.
Horace goes skiing.
I have played, I did actually play an emulator, not recently, but certainly within the last couple of years, an emulator of Manic Miner. Do you remember Manic Miner?
Yeah, I remember Manic Miner, yeah.
God, I was really good at that game as a kid. I can't get past the
hard
second
game.
level.
Hard game, yeah.
Anyway, no is the answer to that.
Okay.
I also very quickly just want to say that Matt brought up Metroid Prime 2. Yes, it does. It holds up really well.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Darren, go on. Sorry, go on.
No, go on.
If you want to talk about Metroid Prime, mate, I would be remiss to not allow you.
No, I was just going to say that there's a lot of GameCube games that hold up really, really well.
There are, yeah, that's fair comment. Luigi's Mansion. At ROTMM, at Rotten, Darren is back this week, and he asks, and this is quite a simple one, we can blast through this. We'll start with you, Nicola, since you just answered that one. Is the Switch primarily a handheld device or a home docked with TV console?
I've played it exclusively in handheld so far.
Adam?
Handheld majority of the time.
Chris?
Handheld.
So I'm the only TV player?
No, I do play it on TV, but
I've spent very little time playing it.
Ah, right, yeah.
It's always docked. I want to see it on a big screen. I'm not against handheld. I just like playing on the big screen with the Pro Controller. Chris Hyde at Chris Hyde 83 would like to hear everyone's take on the Nintendo Direct furore, and I think what he means by that is how everyone was losing their shit midweek over there maybe being a Nintendo Direct midweek last week. This is. It's a bit weird, I thought. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts on this.
I have none.
Okay. It's a bit weird that people were basically going, please market to us, we're desperate. I don't know. It just seemed a bit strange. It's like I put this was my subtle way of doing of having a take on this was that I tweeted something like because it was last week, so I can't remember too well. But it was something like, remember when we were all talking about that Burnout Paradise remaster that EA said nothing?
Yep.
Great times. And it was my way of, like, this industry kind of, that's how it works. It works on hype. Like, you know, that's why, like, one thing I've wanted GodisaGeek to do more of is to not forget games. And by that I mean, like, you preview a game, you do some video on a game, you talk about a game on a podcast, you review a game, and then bye-bye, that game's gone forever, we've forgotten all about it, never existed. That's why we joke about Horizon, but I like the fact we're still talking about Horizon, because I don't think you should just forget about games, because the people who actually play games, the people who aren't critiquing games or making content on games, they're not playing them the second they come out. They're not like, oh, my favourite game site or my favourite game critic, he's not talking about it anymore because he's reviewed it. Like, I like the fact you keep coming back to a game, you know? So I find it a bit weird because, like, it just feels like this industry is becoming more and more hype driven, and I'm not sure I like it, but hey, you know, we keep going. John Legg at Leg_John. This is a good one. We'll start with you, Chris. What's the best bit of gaming merch you've ever had? I remember Worms, Armageddon, Johnny's, and GTA 3 playing cards among the best I had when working in retail in the time.
I would probably say it's fairly recent, and it was a body bag.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, I got a body bag. I've used it. It worked well. It kept the smell in. Didn't leak. Worked well. But yeah, no, genuinely, a body bag was fucking weird, but it was funny. It's for cereal cleaner.
Is it the best bit, though? The best?
No, it's not the... It was... Yeah, well, yeah, kind of. I can't really think off the top of my head.
No, fair.
It was certainly the craziest. Yeah, I'll go with a body bag.
Nicola, anything you can think of?
Nothing that I've, like, been sent, but I did have... I can't even bring myself to say it, it's so nerdy. I did have one of those chainsaw controllers, limited edition, with unique blood spatter for the PS2 Resident Evil 4.
Resident Evil 4.
I still got it.
That's amazing.
I've still got it.
That might be worth a few bob.
Yeah. Don't sell it, though, because that's just quality.
Blood spatter, boys. Oh, yeah.
Just clearly trying to arouse all three of us.
Oh, yeah.
I'm there.
I'll send you a picture.
Oh,
I'll DM you. I'll DM you, lads.
Adam, anything you can think of?
Am I allowed to say collector's edition? Does that count?
It's your best bit of game merch.
My favourite thing that I ever received because of how much I loved the game was the Witcher 3 Collector's Edition.
Okay.
I thought it was absolutely just like the biggest thing for the price. It was like €130 I think I paid, and it came with like that big statue, the medallion, soundtrack, massive art book, and it was, like, when you open the box, it was signed by everyone at CD Projekt Red, which I thought was a lovely touch. It's just because of how much, like, I adore that game, so that was one of my favourite things I got.
I suppose for me, I mean, I can split this into two groups. In terms of stuff that's been sent from the site, Sony used to do some cool stuff. Like, I'm not saying they don't anymore, but like there's when they were promoting Tearaway Unfolded, they sent out like a Papercraft controller in a box with Tearaway branding on it that I quite liked. What else would there be? I mean, I'm a bit of a Resident Evil fan, and like over the years, the press kit stuff, even when the games haven't been good, like they're the thing. Most of that stuff, you know, it's swag, as you call it, and it just either gets binned or given to someone who wants it or whatever. But the Resident Evil stuff I've kept, and there's been some weird stuff there. Like I think Operation Raccoon City had like a blood sample in it. I'm sure it wasn't a real one. I fucking hope it wasn't. Never thought to ask. But they've been pretty good. I suppose in terms, I would go. I really love the NieR Automata Black Box Edition. Like, that statue of 2B is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
I love that game, and so it's like special to me. And I would say also another one I can think of, I really like the original Bioshock Special Edition. With like the Steelbook and like anything Bioshock related.
Yeah.
And of course, Amiibo. You know, this. You know, I tend to have the stuff I really like on display. Like, so to either side of my TV in my office, there's a Fallout bobblehead on the left and on the right.
Yeah, I actually bought an Amiibo last week for the first time in a long time.
Which one?
Bowser Wedding.
Oh, that's
Odyssey
a good one.
one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Got it for €5.
He's literally. I can touch that right now. Right there. €5. That's a good price, though. It's next to the Metroid Squishy one, right there. You can't see it, but I'm squishing it. Right, Asim Tanvir at Asim Tanvir, who is also called Asim Tanvir. He asks, "Why is First Avenger 83 such a gent? Makes the rest of us look bad." That's you, Chris.
Oh, do you know what? When I went to the Metal Gear Survive event, it was the first time I got to actually meet Asim, obviously friend of the site. We've spoken about Metal Gear on the pod that we did together last year. Yeah. So yeah, it was really nice. He was dead helpful, great guy. So I don't know, mate. I think I'm just good genes. I think my mother and my father did a good job of raising me. I think respectful to women. I stayed in school. I wasn't a fool. Just be nice to people, and they'll be nice to you, and that's why I'm a gent.
Chris, you should run for president.
Yep. I'm going to. And with 2020. Fuck Oprah. Vote Chris.
Respectful to women, as you said.
Yeah, no, I don't mean that.
The final question this week. Now, I know who this is from. I don't think Adam and Nicola will know who this is. I know who this is.
Wife, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say don't tell Adam, but yeah, at Miss Flanagan, Gooseberry Crochet. That is Chris's wife, who says, and I think this is not. I've got to be careful, so I'm going to be I'm going to have a politician's answer for this. So we'll ask you. You go first, Adam. Then, what payments do your partners demand for all the time you spend playing games?
Oh, Jesus. There's a bit of thinking involved here, lads. What payment? I don't know. Dinner? Go out to the cinema? Do you know? The classic cliches, but you know...
KFC and a pint.
No, but McDonald's drive-thru, quick and easy, out the gap. No, you just like... You gotta... It has to be balanced. It just has to be balanced. Like,
you can't sit and play DMC for 10 hours, and you can't do that sort of thing. That was
a different story. That was had a bit of a week, but besides that, I think I learnt my lesson before, and it's a very quick story. When I used to play World of Warcraft like religiously, when I started going out with who is now my fiance, I was playing in the bedroom at 7:00 in the evening. She got up the next morning to go to work at 8, and I was still at the laptop playing it. And I think that's when I said to myself, no, you have to fix this right now. So it's just the balance. I think that's the good payment.
I mean, we can all answer, but that is genuinely the kind of thing I was going to say. Like, my wife's really understanding, like really helpful. Yeah. Like, you know, this podcast, for example, she's not long been home from work. Just literally, hi, bye, look after the kids, see you later. And, you know, like you say, balance. You have to make sure that you find time to do stuff together.
Big time.
Yeah. I've been married 15 years this year, and I've been with him for nearly 20. Tell you what,
same.
Just shoving myself off in another room's perfect. That's why we're still together.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I've been married. Yeah, about the same actually, Nicola. Yeah, we won't ask Chris because listen,
Chris now deep down is just going, thank God they gave those answers.
Yeah.
What Adam says, what everyone says. Yeah.
Which Adam?
Both. I think
because I'm going to edit him in saying blowjobs. So no, that doesn't work. No, it does work.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. I think that's perfect. Yeah. That's it, isn't it?
Yep. That is a podcast for this week. I think you will probably feel quite satisfied with the amount of content we have delivered. Just to remind you, as I do every week, to go to patreon.com/GodisaGeek, because if you like us for $1 a month, you get this very podcast, but with a bit you haven't just heard, that only listeners hear, and every week that varies what we talk about. We always try and keep it as interesting as we can. It's a bit, different to the rest of the podcast. And yeah, you get early videos, extended podcasts, early podcasts, exclusive content. We try and give you quite a lot of value for $1. But if you like us, that money goes directly to the team. We use it for the team, equipment for the team. We use it for that sort of stuff. So, worth considering if you enjoyed this podcast and feel like we're worth $1 a month. And if you don't, that's also fine. But do follow us on Twitter at GodisaGeek. I'm at Jeebus F. Couldn't even remember my own Twitter account. Adam is at Adam Zoaks, ZOAX on the end there. Chris is at First Avenger 83. Nicola I mentioned earlier, but at Wavy_Gravy. And yeah, listen, Google GodisaGeek, then whatever social media you're trying to follow us on. Do go to YouTube, where we've got a brand new trailer that shows off the kind of thing we're going to be doing in the new year. If you are a Patreon, you will also have seen the first kind of on-camera video. I'm not going to keep promoting. You know what to do by now. Adam, Chris, Nicola, all together now. Thank you very much for being here.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm Adam Cook, as you know, at GodisaGeek. We'll speak to you next Wednesday, or whenever you choose to listen. Goodbye for now.